Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to RLAfterShock, the longest-running independent podcast in Rocket League at this point, not just the one for European podcast shit and the European esports shit. At this point, I think with all the other podcasts going under or otherwise being on hiatus, Bacon, I think we are the titans of the standing here at episode 69.
I mean, if we're the titans, there is no hope in hell for anyone else.
Like, you're all fucked. Like, the scene will be dead in 2 years, and that's all because of the fact that we've been allowed to thrive here in week 4 of quarantine. I think we're up to right now. I've lost track, Bacon. We've gone from absolute batshit insane last week to just sort of tired this week. I just kind of woke up. I'm not in a good state at the moment, I won't lie.
I think the medical term for it is fatigue, Jay, and you are definitely feeling a little bit tired, a little bit like we've gone past that stir crazy and now we're in acceptance, and well, after last week's Rocket League results, I'm quite happy to accept them all. So I think we've got a lot of good action to break down this week.
Yeah, we do, of course. All the regular interesting results from RLCS and RLRS and beyond as well. As well as that, we're taking a look at some of the off-season stuff that has been announced this week as well by Psyonix, of course, among others, but, just mainly the Psyonix thing going on that they announced. As well as that, we have an update on the Mousesports story from last week where ScrubKilla has finally decided to speak out about his time leaving Mousesports. So all that is here to come on the 69th episode of RLAfterShock. Let's just jump straight into the news here, Bacon. I think we'll start with that Mousesports story. Obviously, last week, for those of you who didn't catch the show, ScrubKilla announced that he was Mousesports announced that the ScrubKilla was going to leave and they were going to honor the fact that he was going to leave for them. He never came out with an official statement up until this past gone March 29th, so a couple of days ago as of us recording this here on the 31st. And he said in a twitlonger, not a very long twitlonger, but it does clear up a couple of things, so I'll just quote you the whole thing. To shed light on recent events that took place, here's my side of the story. There was a lot of controversy around it, but what I did was morally justified. First of all, I'd like to apologise to my fans and ex-teammates for taking this step, but it's one that I had to do before anything out of my hands ensued. The season has been a rollercoaster for me regarding the controversy surrounding me in the past week. I was dealt with IRL in an extremely unprofessional manner by the CEO of Mousesports throughout my time at the org. The CEO of Mousesports refused to agree to the contract being active if my dad did not co-sign. After explaining that at 16 you no longer have to have a legal guardian, in Scotland, the organisation decided to ignore this and continue pursuing my services. Mousesports representatives were persistent upon me being an employee rather than a contractor. My problem was that I'd fall under working time regulations. Mousesports representatives, however, reassured me on stating the label would not be problematic to my role in the team, keeping me as an employee. Furthermore, after discussing the prospects of me working as a contractor rather than an employee, the CEO told me not to worry. I found my communication with Mouse was intimidating and resulted in me feeling extremely anxious throughout the whole season. I felt uncomfortable that I was breaking the law. In conclusion, I want to take the time out to apologise to my fans, supporters, and 2 teammates for backing out mid-season. I'm confident in my ability, however, to take a more calculated approach to similar endeavours in the future and will come back stronger than ever. So what this basically boils down to is, hey players, those contracts, those legal documents that you need to sort of verify and shit, maybe consult them with a lawyer before signing on the dotted line. That's probably a good idea. And ScrubKilla feels like he kind of learned that lesson the hard way with the Mousesports side. I'm not sure what the issue is with working time regulations, because I have seen a couple of different things on the thread for this twitlonger. If you just go back to Kyle's Twitter and you take a look at what people are saying and what people are sending him about citizens' advice and how German and Scottish law works, I haven't taken too much of a deep dive into it because to me this just feels like a classic case of hey, verify your contract before you sign it.
Yeah, looking at me, a lot of the requirements or the requests coming through from Mouse are pretty normal. And I think this just, like you said, comes down to a difference between German working law and Scottish working law and just basically bad communication between the two. Like you said, if Scrub had just come on in and this is one thing of why we're there going talent managers or at least in quotations esports lawyers are needed within Rocket League is purely because stuff like this could get ironed out so smoothly, and it just feels like, well, for one, largely you shouldn't be playing for a team if you've not signed a contract with them. Let's just put that straight out there, Jay. But there are so many little problems with this, and it feels like, well, Scrub's just at fault here as Mousesports, and realistically, at the same time, it's that case of no one's in the right, no one's in the wrong. It's a murky grey area, and it's just one of those things where things are broken down, and Scrub, no longer on Mouse. Going forward, from how it looks across the board, it could be a little bit of a tricky situation going forward from him, and realistically, he's going to be the one having to deal with this fallout, we'll call it.
Yeah, I mean, with Scrub, obviously, he is 16. So in the UK, he's still classified as sort of like, in the eyes of working at the very least, like, you're classified as sort of like a minor. So like under the age of 18, there are certain restrictions that are put in terms of the time that you have to put into a job. I'm not sure how strict they are in terms of like, in enforcing those kind of rules and regulations. Like, I think that if it's under the choice of, if it's the choice, or like if it's sort of like voluntarily sort of like taken over time, I think it's kind of allowed, so I guess you could kind of get away with it in that respect in the UK. But as Kyle says, like, it's a bit of an awkward sort of position where it's like, hey, you're not quite you're classified in the eyes of working as a fully grown adult, but also you're classified in the ideas of working as a minor, but in terms of the actual like legal age and stuff, like, it's actually 16. So past 16, as he says, you don't have a legal guardian. Like, you kind of you'll have to fend for yourself. So it's a bit of a weird sort of like a complicated situation, I think, for Scrub in that respect. I don't know how at fault he is, because we haven't heard anything about the things that we mentioned last week about how he didn't want to have Mousesports branding on his stream, or he didn't want to, do all these all these things to the organization that are still, by the way, industry standard practice. Like, to be under contract for an organization means that you work for them as an employee. That's that is common industry practice, and if you're going to do that, then you have to be ready to accept the fact that you are that you are essentially just one of their staff. If you can work out a deal, obviously, with the whole self-employment thing, then maybe you could. Then maybe you could find a way around this if you Scrub. But for the most part, organizations aren't willing to budge on that part. Because for their own taxes, for their own business side of things, it is easier, more efficient, and probably more cost-friendly as well. So like, try and find a way to work around that, or otherwise, an organization is going to be in a very tough spot with Scrub if he wants to stick with this whole 16-year-old and contractor position.
Yeah, and again, last one there to me comes down to that awkward grey area of him, still being 16. Like I said, he might be fine in Scottish law, but where it's a German company, that then works under their claims. Nothing in Germany is still education till 18, and a limit on the number of hours for 16 and 17-year-olds, because that's just how they are. So, of course, it's a little bit of an awkward area between the two, but going forward, like we said, I'm going to compliment Scrub of this twit longer actually being very professional in what he's come out to. Of course, like you said, you don't know about the other stuff, and of course that's because he's going to completely keep it mute from this twit longer. Like, naturally he doesn't want to talk about that area, but it's really, really well put forward, and I like that the professionality he has in the public eye is being upheld.
Well, let's put it this way, right? He's certainly acted in a higher regard than we initially thought he was acting compared to last week. So like, credit to Kyle, obviously, for being professional about it, and I think that will certainly boost his position when it comes to standing with organizations. But I still think that this whole situation is going to leave him in a little bit of a weird position when it comes to orgs. The recent rumors have suggested that he won't be under an organization in his next team, but based on the fact that particular source has, we'll get into more detail a little bit later on down the road, because there is a mailbag question I have regarding that particular thing. But in terms of like getting paid and shit, like, for the most part, his income may just be relying on the stream. I mean, it was fair enough,
which he still makes a good bloody whack off anyway.
Absolutely.
So,
his stream is one of the most popular in Rocket League. So let's give him credit where it is.
Yeah, exactly. Scrub has, and you can understand, like, with that sort of rumor of why he wanted to look for his own route for monetizing his stream and such, because he is, like you said, one of the biggest broadcasters, biggest streamers within Rocket League. So he's going to try and capitalize upon that. He is probably looking to what a lot of the other lads are being able to do. Let's just say with like Jazer, who, I mean, this isn't part of what our news is today because it's not exclusively esports, but he just got picked up by NRG. And And if you're looking towards those lads, which have solely been repping that, like Jesse over on, it was Reciprocity, and they're sort of going to these orgs, then it seems a little bit weird for me that Scrub's trying to look into an avenue which didn't work for them.
Yeah, I just don't even know what else to say at this point. Like, it's a very, very weird situation. I don't think that either party is particularly in a bad place at the moment because of it. But, it is what it is right there with ScrubKilla leaving Mousesports. I'd like to have seen where that team could have gone overall. I would have loved to see him stay. But if it's the case that he is really worried about breaking the law, then again, always get a lawyer to check over your contracts. It's like, what, $200, $300 at worst for a reference and a quick look over? Like, that's nothing compared to the kind of salaries flung around with these contracts. So just fucking take the dive, make sure you're not getting screwed. And with ScrubKilla as well, obviously, he's won Vitality before, so, he's got plenty of money in the bank, being a world champion and everything. Just spend a little bit. Just take a bit of a moment there to figure things out. Anyways, that's ScrubKilla on the Mousesports thing. Let's move on and talk about the spring series. Psyonix have announced that they are going. They did a thing, yes. We asked them last week. We were like, "Hey, yo, let's do some tournaments in the off season, so that way we can keep the scene bolstered." And then they announced the Rocket League Spring Series, and it's a start. I want to say, Bacon. It's not incredible. Obviously, it's a $350,000 prize pool event. That is, of course, the total amount from all the tournaments that they're going to do between Europe, North America, Oceania, and South America, with 125 for Europe and North America each, and 50K for Oceania and South America on the whole. And we kind of was running through the rule book and stuff, which mostly seems to be the same sort of standard RLCS rules and shit, Bacon. What are your initial thoughts about the tournament itself?
So my initial tournaments is it's fucking fantastic the way they're doing this. 4 spots from the top 4 RLCS. I'm fine with that. And then the following 4 is open to all. Hallelujah. I can understand them wanting to bolster the value of those top 4 spots. So brilliant. And the one thing which I'm going to point out, and, take this with a pinch of salt because it hasn't happened. It hasn't worked in the past. But Jay, spring series, this to me is going to give me, and I hope a lot of others hope, that there will be a summer series, let's say a fall series and a winter series like we've been asking for ages. The only thing I'm going to say to contradict that is stuff like Renegade Cup 2018. Where was 2019? Are we going to get one for 2020?
No, we're
Stuff
not.
Like that
no,
has always fallen off of Rocket League. That naming just spring series rolls off the tongue. It's nice, and it just comes to, let's just hope this is something that continue forward because this is fantastic. And realistically, the only negative I have towards this, because that realistically is negative, I'm just saying, by track record, be careful, getting your hopes up. But my only negative is where the fuck is Asia, considering that we were going to have them with the Intel World Open. We're really realistically not going to have that now. And Psyonix would have been happy for, the Intel World Open or ESL to have the first proper inclusion of Asia into proper top tier professional Rocket League. Why did they not just have an Asian region thrown into this, especially after all this hype around Sandrock? When 1NE was at DreamHack Montreal, the Asian region, even if it was, and they could have just easily thrown the 50K onto it, but even if it was just 25K, heck, even if it was 10K, it would have still been more than anything else that region has ever had. And for me, it just feels like a massive shame and a little bit of a missed opportunity for the region.
I think, to be honest, the Psyonix are so focused on the current 4 regions that they don't really care too much about Asia, so I'm not too surprised about it. I know a lot of people have been discussing where teams like Sandrock can fit in the context of Rocket League esports because they're closer to Europe than they are towards Asia. So that's where my thing of having a CIS and MEA sort of region sort of comes into place. We can add that and then Asia on top. But Psyonix, if they're going to do that, then they're going to do it one at a time, and it's not going to be for another 2 years. So fuck it.
Jay, I'm just going to put it out there now. Middle Eastern servers, yes, they do have them out in Saudi Arabia, but there's also a second load of Middle East servers out in India. Now, those Indian servers, which you can find just by naming schemes and that are the perfect middle ground between the Middle East and Saudi Arabia and, say, Japan or Korea and all of that. So there is a way to work it around. I mean, you can ask anyone from, APL or 1NE about this shit because they've had to deal with it in the past. So there is workarounds and way for it to get working within, like, even including CIS in those Indian servers. There's a nice even ground of about 80 ping for everyone.
The problem is that obviously it's 80 ping though, it's not, it's pretty.
Danrock were just playing this weekend, the week before, in the TEI on 100 ping average.
And that's not ideal, to be honest. I think
it's not ideal. Like, that's something to throw at Psyonix as not being ideal, but it's something that players have learnt to live with and can actually deal with it.
I'm still supporting a CIS and MEA league. That's what I'm saying. I'm still thinking that whole region should be given its own little thing.
There to condone it and to condone Psyonix, I reckon.
I think there are.
I would just rather see all other try and throw them all into one camp together to get things started, because otherwise I don't see there being anything started for those regions.
Well, on that respect, I want to move on to my personal negative on this one, because while the regioning thing is still is one thing, and I understand why Psyonix wouldn't want to include Asia or MEA or anything like that in the spring series. I don't understand this fucking prize pool split. Have you seen this, Bacon? Have you seen this shit?
Oh, what? The 125 from America and Europe, but then 50.
No, not even that. Not even that. I'm talking about the prize pool split for first, second, third place, right? I know what you mean. So, how much would you, for $125,000, completely ignoring what we already know about the European regional prize pool split, how much would you, for that kind of a tournament, give to first place, Bacon? On a prize pool basis, on a percentage basis, how much do you roughly think that we should be giving to these teams?
First place out of 8 teams in a 125K tournament, minimum of 50 grand.
Psyonix says 23 grand. Fucking what? 23 grand for first place.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me second then, Jay. Go on.
17 grand.
So a 6K bump.
Yeah.
2,000 a player. Okay, what about third?
16K.
So only a 1K bump on that. If you tell me that fourth place is 15K...
It is 15K.
So, where is the incentive, shall we say, Jay, to really push for that first place? Where is the monetary gain?
I just don't fucking get this shit, man. Like, I just don't understand what it is with Rocket League and shit prize pool splits. Like, I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Like, there's a 3K difference between 10th and 6th place in the RLCS, and in the regional positions, like, I don't even think there was even a prize pool split at all in the last season. Like, I think it was maybe about what, 10 grand between last and first for the European regional, and then you really went to the LAN, which is where the big money rolled in. And even then, like, that was a weird prize pool split because it didn't give like a 50% sort of cutoff position for the first place team. And it's like, this is like 18.5% on the prize pool split for this fucking tournament. Like, why on earth would any team take this seriously, considering what we've already said about the TEI, and everything like that? Like, the TEI's problem was the fact that its entire prize pool was lower than last place in RLCS. This fucking tournament also, their first place prize is lower than last place in RLCS. Like, this should have been 50 to 75 grand for first place position, or 50 to 60 grand at the very least for a first place fucking finish in Europe and North America, because this is like so low. This is the best teams in the world competing for $23,000. Like, this is. It's like, if you're going to put 125K in there, like, why do we need to have this whole thing about anyone can win if they get to top 8? Like, fuck that, mate. Like, if they're going out in the first 2 rounds, I don't give a shit. Like, make increase the money for first place. Give money to all four of the top 4 teams, and tell the other 4 to go fuck themselves because they weren't good. You know, like, I don't care. Like, it's stupid because all you're doing is hampering motivations for the teams at the top to really do anything in this tournament. And then this tournament is going to go down the route of the TEI, and no one's going to give a shit. And that's the problem, right? Because once again, this is going to become the only thing that we will have in the fucking space, right? Because IWO is probably not going to go down at this point. I haven't heard anything about anything like that. Like, it's fucked, you know, like, it's completely fucked at this point, you know?
And it comes down to another bit of mentality, and it's weird, of with Rocket League, and we saw it with esports items, all that come on in. Oh, Rocket League is a different game in its own right. We have to come up with our own systems of doing things. No, it's very easy to go look at other esports and just how their money structure is, because that's what makes sense. Like I said, it gives massive incentive towards it all. And when you look at stuff like this, you can even look towards the DreamHack Pro Circuit and how they structure their money. Now, we know making top 8 for that, like, and again, the big limit to the DreamHack Pro Circuit was just more the allowed prize pool, we're going to say right here, because making top 8 was enough to near enough pay for your journey. For a lot of the close regional teams, we'll say making top 4 definitely played and, like, you know, paid for the entire weekend, had a good bit of fun with it and all of that sort of jazz. And then making top 2 is where the real money comes on in. And for an online tournament, that's what I'm going to point out, Jay. An online tournament where there are no expenses, this mentality of really stacking it up to try and find the pinnacle in an open circuit, in an open tournament, is what should be there. Because I can understand the mentality of trying to make it a bit easier for players to expense themselves to go to these tournaments. But when it's online, there is no reason, no excuse, no logic behind just trying to near enough give money to the guys that come last, when, don't get me wrong, there should be a little bit of gratitude. Well done, you made it top 8. Yes, here is 2k, not the, I'm trying to do the maths in my head, 10k that they're getting. I'm
well, for last place,
how much is that?
Last place is 13k each.
What the fuck? Exactly. 2k, as I said, if you want to make numbers easy, 3k, whatever. But that's where you take the money from and put it all the way up to the top. It's more of just a consideration of, oh, you did well, there you go. And when you're looking at it now, you come 8th here and you're in this tournament, what should be realistically the best 8 teams in the whole of Europe by that point, like without any boundary of different levels and all of that, coming 8th in this spring series gets you as much money as what BDS made coming top of the rival series.
It's so ridiculous, man. It's absolutely stupid. I mean, even then, go back to your DreamHack comparison, even they had like 50% of the prize pool go to first place position, you know? Like, they did it right. They did it so much better. Like, you know, even if they took the 25k and put the 100 there and left this prize pool split as the fucking spring series prize, like, I wouldn't even be complaining about that. I wouldn't be complaining about the fact that there's more money or less money at this stage, you know? Like, that's how fucking ridiculous this prize pool split really is. Like, I still can't believe that it's a thing. Like, Psyonix have always had this mentality of trying to promote the idea that anyone can make it in RLCS, which is a fucking lie, by the way. Like, not everyone can make it in the RLCS. You know, you have to have like a special level of talent, a lot of pedigree in the scene at this stage, because we're 9 seasons deep, and maybe that mentality applied in season 1 when we had no idea who the best players in the world were until we played out the season
for a whole year. Let's just put that out there to make it through the RL, so to qualify for the RLRS and then qualify straight on through to the RLCS to then go to Worlds. Like, we're talking teams that have done that before, like say Savage or Triple Trouble or whatever, of course haven't gone the whole way, but they're your closest examples, and they were like very seasoned players by that point, and you don't see it now sort of coming on through. Your closest in recent history would be someone like Endpoint, and see where they've got to, and it's all because it's so top heavy.
And even then, you talk about Endpoint, and even those guys were respectable bubble players who had, a lot of success in previous big name bubble tournaments, i.e. Renegade Cup, the Play, etc. So, those guys have already had a lot of experience down that level, you can't just be a shitter and jump into this tournament in a double elimination qualifier with every other respectable team in the fucking world and think, hey, I'm going to make 8th place. It's not possible. It's just not possible. And Psyonix have retained this very outdated mentality into the fucking, into the fucking spring series. I think it hurts the tournament overall. So I think we're not going to have the highest level Rocket League that we can have in this one. Again, if we had 50k on that first place position, absolutely, I think we see the highest tier Rocket League that we could get. But the fact that we don't, given the circumstances, I think that it would have applied. Now it doesn't. It is such a ridiculous mentality to try and reward everybody. Because they made it through a big open bracket. It's tough, but that doesn't mean that those teams are good. If you're trying to find the top 8, I find it just incredible. I just think it's absolutely stupid.
So for me, I'm going to disagree that we won't see the highest level of Rocket League we can, and that is purely because there was jack shit else going on during that period. So of course these teams are now going.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, man, because if you remember the fucking the regional tournament, was it the seasonal opens that Rival used to put on? Remember those ones where RLCS teams would come out on occasion, and then sometimes they would just forfeit. I realize the prize pool difference is a lot bigger, but the same mentality applies, and you'd be surprised because some of these players, they're making $23,000 a month. On a higher level, it's fucking, not even, it's not even a fucking drop in the ocean for them to make this money. I don't think it's a good enough motivator, Bacon. I really don't.
No, it realistically, that's why we're saying you make it top heavy so that you try and strive for that money and the challenge there, because everyone is. And the biggest example of this, Jay, we talk about with the TEI recently, where 20k is a nice token amount of money. It's still a minor, but it's more the fact of everyone was well and truly focusing on the RLCS, so that when it came around to the tournament, none of the RLCS teams, arguably not many of the RLRS teams, were actually focusing on TEI because they had bigger shit to deal with, the main series. And when it comes around to it, and you'll see that in the finals, you go back to it, once RLCS was done and dusted and they could focus on TEI because they've got nothing else to do, there's a slap going on right there. And it just shows where mentality is at the moment with Rocket League.
I think it's a combination of several different factors, that mentality, and it's definitely a mentality that needs to change, though, going forward. And again, I'm kind of hoping that it changes due to a lot of fucking, the main driver of that mentality change is always going to be Psyonix. It always will be. They have to make the changes on their own because they've taken the responsibility, not the honor, by the way, the responsibility. Let me emphasize what that means: the responsibility to fucking run the entire esports space. And it's if you're doing an inadequate job, if you're doing an inadequate job, then the players aren't going to give a fuck. Even in the bubble scene, in the bubble scene, the players don't give a fuck. Anything outside of RLCS, it seems like nobody seems to give a fuck at the moment. I'm just seeing so many problems in the Rocket League space. And again, the main driving force for change has got to be Psyonix, because stuff like this, it just screams of arse poor to me. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about some more roster moves. In particular, we wanted to talk about Servette Geneva. Obviously, a team that's very close to our hearts, Bacon. And we've been discussing the idea of Yagi being moved out of the roster for the last couple of weeks. And it's just happened here because he's tweeted earlier today, in fact, as of us recording this, about an hour and a half ago. So, because I am taking a little break from Rocket League, I got kicked out from Servette Geneva Esports. I wish Mirrorwing and Zaffair good luck in the future, and I will be at left T after my little break. Now, we knew that he was on a break from yesterday. Servette have already found a third replacement, by the way, guys, just to let you know how serious this team is about having another stab at it. Let's talk about the move from a roster move perspective and what Servette Geneva will gain/lose from Yagi's departure here. Because I think that throughout our conversations over the course of the rival series, one of the sticking problems was always Yagi's place in the team. It always felt like he was the one on a lot of double commits with Mira and Zaffair. It felt like he was the one getting overly zealous and really, throwing the team formation completely off guard for a lot of those rival series games.
Yeah, Yagi had a very similar place, I'm going to say, as someone like Bluey, for example. And you can see the similarities there. Yes, he was always performing. Yes, he would quite often be the star man, you could even say. But the problem being that when the team was having a bad day, you could see he was the one cutting up his opponents. Don't get his team, sorry, not his opponents, even though sometimes it could feel like that. But that's just team greed going on right there. And the problem does still stem in other parts of the team, like we saw with Mirrorwing's confidence at the RLRS level was very lacking. And this is something which I'm sure next season he should be able to get over because he's already had one season there. That is, of course, if they can make it on back J, you know, but we've seen how they play with this new lad, and it's going to be a little bit through tinted glasses purely because it's not at that same rival series level, is it? So we could say how great he is, but it for us, or for me anyway, definitely, it didn't feel any different to how we've seen Servette play in previous seasons, say TCS, where they're currently trying out season the new lad. So it'll be an interesting one going forward. But the real takeaway for me here is that Yagi, yes, I can understand him wanting to go on a break, but it shows how cutthroat Rocket League is that you can't take a break, you know? And this is what we're saying. Like, naturally, players want to take a break after you've just been hammering it out for God knows how many months, and you're just there like, I just need a few weeks off because, you know, I'm playing this game in and out every single day. I'm sort of going a little bit stir crazy at it because, you know, you're not seeing a massive return considering that. Yes, rightfully so. Like we said, within the rival series, I'm just going to quickly pull up how much the team will make as a statement. They came, you know, second to last, and they'll be making $1,000 each, $1,000 each, which I would say is somewhat fair. That's what the bottom end should be at, you know? And he's probably trying to assess things in his head, have a little bit of time to chill out. But if you're going to be the best of the best, you just suck it up and keep performing each and every day. You don't get time to have a break. Like, that's just that's for esports, that's for real sports. You just got to live with that is part of the nature of the game.
Yeah, rest is sort of appropriate, however, during the course of like your tenure in the team. So, like, you know, like take days off and shit, you know, so that way you're not like burning yourself out and you're not like, you know, running the risk of injury, even though that feels pretty novel for a video game. It does happen, guys. Trust me, you know, like carpal tunnel is a thing. It fucking sucks. I tell you that from experience. So, you know,
there's also things that stem deeper with this stat. Like,
no. Here's the thing. It's like, you know, I will say that Yagi was always rumored to have like mentality issues in the Servette Geneva team that he was part of back during season 2 of TCS, you know, way back in, what was this, 2019, 2018? When the fuck was season 2? It must have been beginning or summer of 2018 or so, 2019. So, you know, like he's been teaming with these guys for a long time. And, you know, he's played with these guys for a little bit of time. And back then we heard things about Yagi being moved out of the team, even though Servette Geneva were the top team in that in Switzerland and in that league, despite winning the fucking LAN and winning the second ever trophy, like they still opted to move Yagi out of the roster because of issues that at the time were touted as mentality problems for him as well. And I feel like that even if you take those out of the wings and we're just like taking a look at pure in-server performance, like of all the players that had to get cut or all the players that needed or we looked at and to say, look, if we had to make a roster move, who would get cut? It had to be Yagi, because like Mirrorwing, when he performed, he was looking amazing. Zafair was the most consistent player on that team, and the only odd one out there in terms of like, you know, his own performances was Yagi. You know, he had a couple of great moments, but he never had any major standout matches that I can think of off the top of my head. And it's like, you know, he was always the problem child, I feel like, for this team, and it makes sense to me that he was the one that was going to get cut, especially with, you know, the break, the mentality, everything else going on. Servette Geneva.
Well, it's just that case of the lad that's going to get cut is the one that would rather play Fortnite over doing warm-ups for their upcoming match. It's that sort of mentality right
over
there.
Zero much.
But yeah, and it's just what it is. Like, when people were bagging on about, say, people like Remco or Marky Dudar towards the end of, you know, playing too much PUBG or Rainbow Six, whatever, instead of playing Rocket League, Yeah, that's what it is. The difference between you and the guy that's at the top of RLCS, the top of RLRS, to make the comparisons a bit easier for these guys, is going to near enough always be the number of hours you put in, because you're all naturally talented at a game. The difference, though, is that if you're at the bottom and you're putting 4 hours in, always expect the guy that's at the top is putting in 8, because talent can only get you so far, but then hard work gets you that extra mile.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the right way to sort of approach it. And I think that, the Servette Geneva guys are hard workers. They wouldn't have had so much success in a lower level as they have had so far if they weren't. So, Servette Geneva, they've already got another player in the pipeline. I'll be curious to talk about him and their performance when it comes to the next play-ins. But for now, we're going to have to see how well these guys do in the off-season. Again, they're playing SCSL, they're playing TCS, so they're playing a lot of Swiss national leagues at the moment.
Well, it'll be spring series qualifiers, which everyone will be really looking out for, because that'll be the true test, I think.
Yeah, I believe they're also playing in Star League, if I recall correctly, as well. They might be in Europa Blue.
No, they should be in the top tier one, which was... I'm just going to say the Rocket Baguette Star League, but that's purely because
it's Rocket Baguette Red, Rocket Baguette Star League Red. So they're playing with all the French teams at the moment. So they're in that region with like Solari and Epsilon. They're actually playing decently well in top 3 and everything. I think they're playing with their new guy. The new guy Sizen. So they've all, again, like I said, they've already found.
I know Batu's been their sub for a while, but they might be making a change earlier. I know they played a couple games with Yagi.
I don't know what the rules are surrounding subs and new additions to rosters in Star League. I have to ask Boyan about that and see how well Rocket Baguette will take it. I think that maybe you can make a change between Star League regional, Star League Red Blue, and then the finals. But I don't know really what the situation is with that. We'll have to keep our eyes on that one. And certainly we'll be doing a lot more coverage of Star League now that RLCS is bid and gone at this stage, Bacon. So if you are interested in that tournament, we most certainly will be bringing it up in the future episodes of RLAfterShock. But that's all something for another day to focus on here. For now, though, Servette Geneva have made a change. Let's hope that it is one for the better, especially since we are big fans of Servette Geneva. Let's move on. And talk about another potential player. Now, we've talked about this guy a couple times in the past, not to sort of, he's not been one of the guys at the forefront of our minds. But I remember at one point he had the same sort of level of hype and shit that other people had,
Do you want me to give the rundown on him?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've not seen Itachi for a very long time. I haven't really been focusing on his career because he hasn't been doing a whole lot of anything in Europe. So tell me about Itachi, what his history is, and then I'll bring the story to the fold.
So Itachi made his sort of big break on through back in season 3 of the RLCS. This was the big change up season, of course, for everyone. And of course, the big drama about it was, of course, teams coming through from the qualifiers. Really just, it was a crazy one, purely because a team called Zentox, you might remember 2 of these other names, Hello and Classic.
Yeah.
There, Jay. If you're a part of the Swiss scene, you definitely know these lads as the current runners. But back then, alongside Itachi, they made RLCS. They were the 8th team confirmed on through. However, Itachi is Moroccan, and Morocco is not part of Europe, and so they're qualified on
even though it's like a fucking a small river away, basically.
It's a few miles. Yeah, sure.
It's like a few miles off the coast of Spain, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So they've made it on into RLCS. Near enough next day, a massive thing goes out going, Zentox has been disqualified from the RLCS due to eligibility. Everyone's there going, hang on, what the fuck? And this was such a weird sort of case, and everyone looking into it, and it is just straight up because he was living in Morocco. He's half Moroccan, half French, I do believe. Yep. And so Yeah, his team just completely had to forfeit. The next 4 teams then had a last chance, little single limb league play going out, to which Penta came on through, and well, everyone knows the story of Penta from there. Pondex, kill number 7, and Freaky, who they that made their careers going forward a little bit, and definitely to this day, Freaky, definitely. And it's just crazy that happened back then. Don't get me wrong, I would probably imagine that nothing would have happened out of the Zentox side, but the what ifs are definitely there. And now Itachi coming on back, and rumors are he is still as good as ever, Jay. He's been keeping up with the game, and he is moving over to France, I do believe, and he should be ready to go, and he will be a hot pickup for these teams. The only problem is that looking at results, looking at his involvements in tournaments, because he is going to be moving over to France, I do believe, for university. There's nothing straight off the top of my mind that means that he's an instant pickup for RLRS teams, or that he's going to be on a team that will auto qualify him through. But that's what we said about many a team, beforehand, made it on through.
On that point about Itachi, again, as you mentioned, some of his results have been sort of like semi-consistent and semi-decent. We've had a pretty decent run in all the ESM management, ESM sort of cups. He took place at the latter part of the end of last year. He also went to Valencia, where he topped 16, which, considering the fucking guys that they have in there, he was part of Moot Gang, which is a pretty set of decent names. The last tournament that we have on record on Liquipedia for, at least, is the FNAC trophy, or the FNAC trophy finals, because they had like 4 open qualifiers. He was part of a side that made it into the first, made it in from the first open qualifier, and he was teamed with Shorset, Astral, and a sub of fucking Fairy Peak. That's a pretty baller squad for Itachi to be brought into, like if he is going to try and go all the way here in the French scene, he's already got a massive rep. And I think that, honestly, considering all the hypes that we've seen around players and teams in the past, this might actually be a decent shout for him to sort of make his way up and potentially contest for a rival series at the very, very least. If he is as good as everyone says he is, then then he's probably RLCS caliber from maybe a couple seasons ago. Itachi could well be a big prospect. I'm still holding my reserves in that respect, because I haven't seen much of what he can do play. I haven't seen him since way back in those days, obviously. But there are reasons to be excited, and everyone in the Twitter thread for this announcement was very, very excited indeed. Cloudfuel came out, gave his support. We've seen Crow, Junior, Alexi, Slater's come up, Rettles, Rix Ronde, Trox, Stake. I'm trying to look for his old teammates. I think they may have had something there in a thread, but there's a lot of different tweets that are like, fuck yes, mate.
Right now, over the last year, Itachi's been playing with some big fucking names. And we're talking, Astral, Chaucer, Fairy Peak being the big standout ones for me. And I wouldn't expect those lads to be playing with him if he's bad. It's not like it's a carry. The only problem is that when I look towards past results, you'd look at those lads Chaucer and Fairy Peak playing together. They probably should be, even though, they don't play together on the daily, probably topping, RLRS teams. But when I look to, let's go back to, last year, sorry, I've completely clicked off his stuff. But yeah, let's go back to ESM Cup 12 that took place back in August. For example, when he was playing on Close One, Itachi, Chaucer, and Astral, they got beat on out by 1BIM, 2BAM, and E-Girls. Now, we look at those teams right now, 1BIM, 2BAM, State Justice, and Might Boy. That was a solid squad. You'd probably still put Itachi, Chaucer, and Astral to beat them on out, and then E-Girls at the same time. Ixo, Pondex, and Arju, those lads were going through an absolute banger of a time there, and it feels almost drastic that they didn't make RLRS, but c'est la vie. So that the lads, he's a good player going up against top competition, but the thing is that it's always been a case for me anyway of not being able to finish it off whilst playing with some of the best. So it's taking it as a caveat, is what I'm saying right now, Jay. And it's just, be aware. I think he should be one of those players that can make it into the RLRS, no doubt. But whether he does it, I can't wait to see it. And I think a big exciting promise could be this coming spring season where he might be one of those players which gets picked up. You know, we're talking about, for example, like the rumors of Reciprocity might be dropping Ferry. You know, that rumor's going flying about. No validity to it all. I'm going to say that right now. I haven't seen anything come out like from any of our sources confirming that. I'm just going to say, but if he's been playing with Short Set quite a lot, could he get picked up by there, jump straight on into RLCS? There's going to be so many different things flying about for this lad, and that's purely because he's an OG of Rocket League straight from the early days, and this is finally his chance. It's almost a little bit, you could say, a bit like ScrubKilla when he finally got a shot at RLCS.
Yeah, it's comparable. That much is certain to me. So we'll see whether or not he can hold his own and how they'll be able to contest with the with the rival series, and of course the spring series coming up very, very soon. But that is Itachi returning to the fold. We'll see how he'll do, and we'll see how things work up in the next week of our of Rocket League history. For now, that's the news over and done with. Quite a lot of news this week, actually. So, hype times are coming up, obviously, with the off-season spooling up. We're going to be expecting a lot of different news stories, a lot of different things to be told in the world of Rocket League. And speaking of things to be told, we've got a mailbag section where, of course, you can ask us questions, send us stuff to react to, and we'll do it. Chances are we'll take those things and put it out on an episode of RLAfterShock because we love you guys. We love being able to talk to you. So, again, that Discord link is in the show notes and video description of every single episode. Go click it, go follow it. Join our little community, including all the results of the results of the pick and prediction game, which came to a conclusion as well with the rival series and championship series being over this past gone weekend. So we'll go bring all that in a little bit's time. But for now, let's jump into our questions. We got Tylacto in the server, in fact, and he's asking us, how hyped are you about this? And he sends a little link to his latest tweet saying, regardless of the current situation, I am soon due to finally graduate from university. Halla fucking Luya. Which leads me to be announcing I'll be spending, hopefully, at least a year streaming and being able to seriously grind RL for the first time in far too long. LFT. Now, we've said things about Tylacto in the past. Not all of them have been positive, certainly from my end, but tell me, Bacon, how hyped are you about this?
Yeah, I'm fairly hyped because, like, if his problem is that he can't commit fully, I can understand them why teams haven't picked him up. Like, we know with Tylacto, for me anyway, it feels like the current Met was the problem for him. He's not a fast player at all. It is more that sort of case of he is a very traditional anchor player, the third man to a team. And who knows, we could see a meta like that reform on up. And for me, I'm going to be quite bluntly honest, I think that's got to be the case for him to get picked up. But if it means, because he's been fantastic, you can definitely see he's a smart player. If that means like now he's got that chance to really grind it out, pull up those mechanics, it's exciting for him.
Yeah, I can see a way back in for Tylacto now, especially with the meta shift, with it being a little bit more calculated and a bit more like, trying to read things. Like, I guess you kind of need like a good brain for the game. And I always think that Tylacto has been that sort of like good team leader, and as you say, mechanically, he's not as amazing as some other players that we have in the scene. But from a brain and mind perspective, I think that he could bring a lot in terms of like, getting some decent players up. Like the aeriality squads we've seen in the past have all been fucking baller, because I think that some of his approaches to the game have given his teams a great little like way in to a lot of cases. So like, I think that there is space for him in the new meta for him to work in. Obviously I've not always been as confident about what he can do. I've said some harsh words to him over the past about his performances in previous tournaments and in previous squads. So obviously I have nothing for the best for the guy. I fucking love Steven. He's been a long time supporter of the show. So I really want to see him do some really good stuff. In terms of prospect teams though, Bacon, like of all the bubble players, of all the RLRS, RLCS teams, like where do we see him fitting in with a team? Let's play God a little bit and just think of some theoretical rosters.
Oh boy. Okay. Like, I was not expecting this question. So instantly, I would be. I don't think realistically any of the surviving RLCS or RLRS teams are going to pick him up. Let's be brutally honest about that one. Like I said, he doesn't fit the current meta from his playstyle, so that there is no reason for anyone to pick him up for that. So it means he then has to go pick up a new team. And straight on away, like for me, it would have to be try and go back to that old tried and tested, like I know it's not going to happen with Exo and Breezy because it feels like those bridges might have been burnt quite furiously. But that idea of having two very fast mechanical players and then you being the glue to the whole operation, for me, would probably be the best idea. So right now, I'd maybe be looking towards some younger French players, maybe younger English or British players as well to try and fill that gap. But off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to name any just because it feels like it's so far away to next season when realistically, like you said, teams like this are all going to be forming, and we know they are all sort of breaking apart and forming once again purely for the spring series.
I mean, there's obviously opportunities for him to like try out different teams, but like I don't know how badly those bridges have been burned between the ex Dem Girlz or the Dem Girlz players, because like I think that team went so fucking far. Like, you know, I don't know why these players decided they want to split ways and try to find something else, because like now more than ever, Tylacto would be a great asset, I think, to that team. You know, considering the heights that they've reached in the old meta, considering the heights that they could reach in the new one. You know, like I mean, one of the things you always said was basically for Greasy Meister to become more like Tylacto and just hold the back line. You know, which basically boils down your entire fucking arguments and criticisms to that team from the entire of last season, you know. So like I think that in terms of like, obviously we're playing God here, so like the realistic sort of side of things is very, very different, because it could be it is very different in terms of like a realistic perspective, like mentality and you know, personality clashes. But like from a pure mechanical perspective and a team sort of formation, if I was to create a fantasy team or like do like a I don't know, a Rocket League manager thing, you know the football manager game, like if I was to construct a new team from scratch, it would be fucking, you know, Exo, Breezy, and Tylacto, to be honest. I think that team could go quite far, you know, and where it goes from there on out is obviously a question for later down the road. But, you know, in terms of like the bubble scene itself, obviously there could be like a million other fucking combinations that we could fit Tylacto into. Like there's just way too many players, so I won't bother to entertain those thoughts. All I will say, however, mate, is obviously, you know, you Tylacto, we fucking really hope you get somewhere. I really hope you get on a good team. Hopefully see you in the spring series. We'll be able to see how well you'll be able to do with that. So there you go. Let's move on and go to our next question from JarofJam. This one was asked very recently due to the obviously the playoffs, the European regionals. He asks, it doesn't seem like it can continue this way for the Reciprocity roster. Who needs to go and why? Okay, now for those of you who like context in this one, who you're waiting for your results, small spoiler for later on down the show. Reciprocity fucking bottled it in the playoffs. They had a really fucking bad time and they did not look good. So let's play. We'll discuss whether or not they should take a roster move and their actual like specifics of their performance from during the tournament breakdown. But for this particular question, let's pretend that they're going to make a roster move. Let's just say, hey, you know, that they're going to cut somebody, and we're in charge of making that cut. Who would we take out? Who would we replace them with?
Yeah, if you're asking us to make the cut and decide, you're fucked. But realistically on this one, I think it has to go towards Farah because... Yeah, just because it feels like the other two are so instrumental. I mean, they might not get the choice, because if I was to see, like, straight away, Fruity is the one that should stay. He is such a core part to the team, the most consistent player on the team. And as I've always said, he's the one that can offer that sort of fallback strategy. He has two mindsets, being that core anchor at back, or he can be a shooter pinpoint striker upfield. He has its priorities. Like, I know a lot of players say, oh, we just go with the flow. But if you look at who's getting certain points, who's getting certain areas, there is a natural progression towards being more of a striker in your rotations and such. And Fruity has a lot more variables about himself and can fill those roles depending on his teammates. Now, Chaussette could also, for me, be a valid person to change on out, and that comes down to inconsistency, Jay. But is that an inconsistency because he's not getting set up in the way he wants to? Who knows? Like, there's a lot of variables there. And for me, I think that Chaussette, just because of what he's like on his good days, you know, if he's popping off, oh, he is one of the best players in the world, easily, you know? So then it goes down to you change out Ferrer and try and bring in a hot new talent that can bolster him and be very aggressive upfield, allowing Fruity to keep to that more captain role, if anything, even though we know Ferrer is a bit more of the captain right now. So straight away there, you're sort of like trying to get rid of the guy who's in charge of the team, even though it's not like an official captain role, of course, but the one that always seems to make the calls and talks to the team. So it's a very awkward grey area, but it has to be Ferrer, realistically, if it's going to be one of the three.
I mean, I have to agree with you on that front, just because I take a look at what the team is doing, and I think, yes, Fruity is being an invaluable supportive element of this squad. I think the Chaussette has some up and down performances, but when he performs, he looks really good, and he's had some of those games over the course of the over the course of the season. But when I think about Ferrer and the matches that he's had, you know, like there was a point during Valencia, for example, where I was like, hey, Fruity's not needed in this roster because Ferrer and Chaussette are doing fucking amazing. But like since that offseason, Ferrer has not really had many, if any, good performances on his part. So like, I have to agree when I think if there's one player that had to go out, it would have to be probably Ferrer at this stage. Now, I mean, I personally don't want to see that, since I think that once you see this team, it's very much like the complexity situation. You know, the Magnus Metzer a lot roster. You know, where how they had such great chemistry, they've been together for so long, and they're still doing some decent things here for Reciprocity. You know, I don't think they're doing amazing. I don't think they're living up to the hype. But you know, you got to consider where this team is on the net, and it's like, you know, you compare to where they were, like, you know, a couple seasons ago, they were only doing good online, and they choked it at LAN. Then they had a couple of good LAN performances, and now they're still doing okay. They're still top 3ing in the league play, even though the playoffs was a fucking disaster. But we'll talk about that in more detail later on down the road. But obviously, if we're gonna take a player out, we always have to put a player in. So let's go to the flip side of this question. Who are the potential prospects? Not including ScrubKilla, because I want to get to that on its own a little bit later. So tell me who your potential prospects for entering this team are.
So for me, we're replacing Ferrer purely because, and I just want to go on the point of when they looked good again, going back to Valencia, the thing everyone was saying was, oh shit, Ferrer's back. That was very much the comment of the time, you know, and now that he's dropped off, the team's dropped off. So we have to keep that in mind as a context. But who are we replacing? For me, I feel like you need some explosive power coming into that team. So I could see, like, looking at availability as well. So we're probably, if we're going to pick a player to put into Reciprocity, I'd probably argue it'd be looking towards one of the 3 teams that are going to be demoting from RLCS, or one of the teams from RLRS and trying to push them on up. As well as, like I said, there is also possibility of Itachi if he fits into that side, if he, you know, is a good mate with Chaussette. But for me, the ones I'd be looking towards would be Extra and Nolly, I reckon. For I feel like, and this is Singularity, like probably just trying to, not just trying to improve whatever, but as we know as an org, if they get someone come through and, you know, pay the buyout clause, they will do that because that's them making money off of it, you know? And I feel like they're the 2 choices, though would also be a fantastic pickup for Reciprocity. I feel like he could fit in there. And the same maybe even to Virtuoso into Reciprocity. But
I think the problem with those teams,
Extra.
I think for me, I think Extra is the most likely, just because there's a good chance that AS Monaco drop this team after they relegate to RLRS, just because they haven't lived up to the hype and they've had a very disappointing season. Extra still is a decent talent. I think that he's probably the better element of the AS Monaco side.
See, I don't think they will drop the team.
I think that if anything, they're going to make some changes, and Extra might be on the chopping block. I'm not sure how much that will be the case for them, but like we've seen so many times that, you know, organizations get involved for that championship series spot. Then as soon as the team gets relegated to rival series, they say, all right, we're fucking out. See you, boys. You know, especially when there are potentially other teams that are not organized, i.e. Solari, for instance, that they could potentially pick up. And it's like, you know, you take a look at AS Monaco. They're they're from Monaco. That's like the edge of France. They're all French speaking. So it's like if you have a full French team, it's much more pleasing to a football club along the likes of AS Monaco to support. Whether that's the mentality going in, I'm just saying that's my theoretics behind it. The problem with Reciprocity is when paying buyout clauses, obviously the fact that this team will not be under organisation come the next month or so. So getting a player like Virtuoso, like Nolly from Endpoint and Singularity is going to come with a high buyout price, because these are the organizations that will struggle here in this current economical climate. So these guys, their buyout clauses are going to be real fucking high, and I don't think that they can afford it to try and pry them away unless there is some sort of
unless there is some sort of... AS Monaco picks up Reciprocity, drops Ferrer and puts in Extra, and then just, bites the bullet and gets rid of Ignite and Tigre from their contracts.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen, exclusively because, it's just a common recurring thing in rival series. Like, I don't think organizations see rival series as being a particularly, what's the word I'm thinking of? Desirable position to be in the Rocket League space.
There's no good money in there. There's no security at the top spot. They don't even have, all games broadcasted on the main channel to that same amount of viewership. There's no desirability. And again, like we were saying earlier, this comes down to a crucial point of the responsibility of Psyonix to change that. But yeah, it's RLCS and nothing. We know it.
Yeah, and I could say the same thing for TSM and Endpoint if they potentially drop down into those positions. So maybe if Endpoint get relegated, I mean, Endpoint is a little bit less so because they have been through the grind and they are like a lesser organization in the grand scale of things. So like, I'll be wondering if they do want to follow suit and drop their team if they relegate. But there's still the relegation.
Like Endpoint would be fine if their team was in the RLRS, the same like if Singularity had dropped down. But as soon as that team drops out and has to requalify, for example, they won't be with them to requalify.
Yeah, 100%. I agree on that front. The other thing, of course, to talk about is the fact that it was leaked in air quotes. I'm going to say massive air quotes about this because, the source that we have. Or the source that we got from it was leaked out through Drama Alert. So they got the information on this, but we also got the same information, and we vetted the source that gave us this information, by the way. So and we cannot find any links between that particular source and Reciprocity at the moment. So we don't know how trustworthy this is. The particulars of who sent it and what they did. We investigated all of it outside of some pending outside of some pending emails that I sent out the other day. We haven't been able to verify the validity of the source's input. Even then, we've never heard from that particular source in the past. So we're not comfortable making any sort of assessments on particular of that particular rumor. But obviously, the rumor said that Pharaoh was going to go out and they were planning to bring in ScrubKilla regardless of how the regionals went down. So let's talk about that move potentially. If ScrubKilla is on the market and he's got he's got opportunities to take a team, like Reciprocity would be a good fit because they won't be under organization. They'll probably be playing on the front line come the next couple of months. So what do you think about ScrubKilla fitting into this squad?
Because this is a weird one as well, because this then lines up with what was going on, Scrub not signing with Mousesports as well, and trying to use this as an argument because during his streams and that, he was there going, oh, I should be in RLCS next season, don't worry about it, that sort of thing. So there is a lot of like, you know, conspiracy theory, connecting the dots towards this. And this leak, like you said, we don't know if this is 100% whatever. It's completely truthful, but ScrubKilla to this team, I don't know. I don't see it as the move that would make the team world contesters again. It's not going to pull them up to the Dignitas of Vitality level. Scrub's a good player, but as a whole unit, I don't know. That's a wild change. You're trying to go for a like with like for Farah, but then you're bringing in someone that's more mechanical, trying to get into the attacks, and maybe it's them trying to bolster the attack a little bit more. Again, making it a little bit easier on Chaussette so that he again doesn't have to pop off, and then that would mean Fruity could keep doing the great work in the back lines like he does. So there is theory to it, like there is logic behind. But I just don't know. It just seems like I can never imagine those three players playing together, you know?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, like...
Actually, the biggest thing there, I could see Fruity and Scrub clashing way too much personality-wise.
Yeah. I was going to say that as well.
I could see Fruity just getting so stressed that he'd clock Scrub. Like, Fruity's a lovely guy, but I think Scrub would be the one to really put him over that edge, you know?
Yeah, no, like I think they've had clashes in the past, if I recall correctly. Like I've heard many different things about like sort of like they don't have great history together. You know, I haven't asked either player personally about this. I probably could shoot Fruity a message and ask him about it. But you know, like the thing about it is that, you know, with Scrub, even from like a team combination perspective, like, you know, they don't need any more defensive sort of like, you know, elements, because they've got plenty. You know, Fruity's great at supporting on all ends of the field. I think he's a great defender as well. He can adjust when it's necessary. The problem is, again, trying to set up Chaussette, and it's like, you know, I'm thinking about this, like, what can Scrub really do to set up Chaussette to perform? What can you really do alongside Fruity to get this player past the line of being one of the best in the world, like he was at DreamHack Valencia? And I don't think there is much, to be honest.
The problem is here that Scrub's best role, like you said, is that defender role, but also attacker. Now, he's replacing someone that is largely a defender midfielder, so it doesn't go like for like exactly. In this case, if Scrub was to move to Reciprocity, yes, you would have to try and pull Chaussette able to come back in the defense a little bit more, Fruity to go more into the attack, I guess. Like, you'd be changing up way too much of the real micromanagement level of how these teams rotate, and I don't see that happening for these guys. That's why for me.
Yeah, there's just too much about this that doesn't seem on for me. And again, you know, like, always do some research into this one. I know that Drama will tend to have a decent track record, but it's not perfect. So certainly,
put it this way,
you know,
if it happens, it's not a good move. It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's looking for a good player, not a good team.
Say, based off of what I've heard so far, unless something changes between now and next week's podcast, in which case I'll update you about that. I don't have any reason to believe that that's going to be a good roster move, let alone a roster move as a whole. So there you go. Farah out, and probably Itachi, and I think is the bottom line of that question. Thank you again, Jam, for asking it again in the mailbag. Our next question comes in from Mr. Trox himself, who has a very nice one that's gonna hit home quite hard, Bacon. I'm sure you'll be ready for this one. He asks, your thoughts on TOs, casters, volunteers often being treated like dog shit. Danny Boy's recent quote-unquote community departure comes into mind, and you guys probably have had your share of handling players as well. Any idea on how those vocal minorities can be made aware more, or even pushed to create something themselves instead of only always taking? And yeah, I know how ridiculous this sounds, but I've had similar things happen during Leaf League in 2017, which made me quit caring for the esports side of RL. So, for those of you who don't know what we're on about, Danny Boy, a good friend of ours, a fantastic little man. I fucking love, you know, chatting to him. I fucking love casting with him. You know, it's always a great time. You know, just to even if it's a case that, you know, the cast is going fucking horribly, I can always rely on him to come up with some, like, you know, really nice quip to make me feel better about the fact that broadcasters shit. You know, because like he's such a fucking quick-witted dude. I love the way he presents his voice on. It's very divisive. I can see why people wouldn't like it, but for the most part, the community tended to be on his side. You know, whenever there was a talent announcement, I always used to see people saying, "Hey, where the fuck is Danny Boy?" You know, like, you know, there was always like even in certain top times in the rival series, everyone wanted him to be on the B stream, even though we've heard in the past that Psyonix don't want him to be on those broadcasts. But you know, I always have respect for what he did. Of course, he's a great friend. And there was a situation happened this past gone, I believe it was weekend or just in the past week in general. And Danny had a fucking Danny basically decided he was going to leave the scene, almost not leave the scene, but he made a tweet out. I'm going to try to see if I can find it real quick. He basically made a tweet out, basically saying, "Look, I'm not going to be doing casting for you know, small community tournaments anymore. I'll be willing to do stuff, you know, like if there was like a DreamHack qualifier or if there was like, you know, the B stream if I was ever accepted to that. But you know, I'm not really interested in doing stuff for, you know, the old stuff like Rocket Kingdom and RL6 Mans. You know, I'm not going to be an admin for those guys anymore." And this all comes off the back of a tweet the night before where Tedder was saying, "Look, man, you know, imagine one person carrying the EU bubble scene for months on end, only for idiots to start pushing him away." And this is a common problem I'm going to say that we have in the bubble scene. You fuckers are the most disrespectful people I think I've ever met in my life. You know, like, I swear to God, you want to talk about ungrateful? Like, that is fucking, like, well, the shit that I've seen from the bubble scene is ungrateful beyond belief. Like, I've always said that, you know, the bubble scene needs more fucking, you know, needs more tournaments and needs more support from Psyonix. The new thing comes into, do you fucking deserve it? Because, like, the level of, like, manipulation and trying to bend the rules and trying your best to get as much out of every little thing as you possibly can while simultaneously not giving back to anything in the community regards, like, and then the level of fucking pettiness and childishness that comes out from several different people in the scene when shit does not go their way leads to stuff like this, and good people start to get hurt because you basically just couldn't handle the fact that you're a fucking shit Rocket League player is the bottom line of it at the end of the day, right? Like, you can't, you couldn't get this win, therefore you're going to complain about it, find some sort of little bit in the rules that destroys the spirit of the rules more than anything else, and just try and wreck as many people as you possibly can because it suits your bottom line, whilst never contributing anything to the scene, never creating content, never doing streams, never helping out in terms of the behind the scenes aspect. You do fuck all other than just sit on your ass, play Rocket League, then clock on and do your regular fucking job or go to university and just live out the rest of your life outside of Rocket League whilst never having anything to do outside of playing in the fucking tournaments. And then there are great people like Rocket Baguette and Danny. Danny was doing a ton of casting to help build up profiles of the bubble scene shit, and now they've thrown it right back in his face and told him to fuck off. Guess what? You guys can fuck off as far as I'm concerned. You know, that is not on. It is not a good behavior. It is not a good mindset. And furthermore, people at Psyonix see this stuff. They see everything in the Rocket League scene. They are paying attention, even to us. You know, I fear what we say on this podcast might get us fucking cancelled from any of the shit that we do so far. Thankfully, that hasn't happened yet, but here's the problem. If the bubble scene has concerning and recurring problems with pushing its people out, abusing its staff, abusing its volunteers, abusing its rules, why in the hell will Psyonix create a third division below rival series to help you fuckers out? They won't. Because guess what? You might need it. You don't deserve it, though. That is the problem, right? And until this behavior changes, I don't see any reason why I should advise sponsors to come and get involved in the bubble scene of Rocket League, because they're not going to get anything out of it. You know, no one's going to want to support a scene and a fixture and a tournament circuit that just gets, you know, nothing but bad PR, no sort of return of investment, gets a lot of people stressed, a lot of people hurt, a lot of people in a very bad position. That is the truth of the bubble scene, by the way. Like, you know, it's gone from a decent place where weeklies were all the rage back during the rival esports era in 2017 to now being at this point where everyone's bitter, everyone's a shitter. It reminds me of fucking UKCS sometimes with a level of pettiness as well. And a lot of good people get hurt. And guess what? You push one of your best people out right here. Fuck all of you, whoever the hell you are. I don't know who you are, but fuck you for pushing this man out. And I hope you never get anywhere in Rocket League.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, I know, again, like, back last summer when I stepped away from Rewind and all of that, it was like, it gets too much. When you're doing all that work, and again, to Danny, like, I know one time when he's near enough been paid, like, quite often he like, near enough all the time, he's not getting paid to do anything. And that's the same for near enough everyone at the community level. Like, any community bubble scene casters as such in Europe, which technically I'm going to say all European casters are bubble casters or less, because there's no official route in. for the guys, bar Shogi and Johnny Boy. But those guys that, you know, aren't getting the regular gigs and you would expect to be paying gigs, of course, aren't getting anything. Like, largely the only community stuff that is being paid at the moment would be Rocket Baguette stuff, to be clinically honest to everyone at home. Anything else, the guys commentating, the guys doing the moderating, the guys running are not making a single penny. And they're putting out this entertainment for people to watch at home. Tournaments for you as players to grow and improve. And you're spitting in their face whilst they're putting on all this stuff for you. Too right, they're going to leave and get upset. And that is just so heartbreaking that people are putting in this work and it's going nowhere. And it largely is because of a few shitters in the community. Like, I never would go to, you know, hounding, pointing out those shitters because I don't believe in that myself. But I can understand that mentality when you've got stuff like this where it's these few little assholes that are causing people to feel bad. They shouldn't be involved, but it's such a hard case, and I know Danny will be fine. He's taking a little bit more of a in quotations Johnny Boy approach to stuff, you know, and how he wants to do his own things. Like, if he is going to help the community, it's going to be on his terms and in his own ways, like the content that he's putting out on YouTube at the moment and the broadcasts he's doing. But that he's been, I want to say, driven to that point because each and every time it just is getting him. And he's been trying to help with, like we said, the Rocket Kingdom stuff and all of that. And it's just grating. It's wearing him down. This is a lad that is still in university. And at this point, he's had enough.
And you get to that point when this is such a labor of love and you don't get any love back, right? That is the truth of the bubble scene. I've said it before on the show. I'll say it again. We get fuck all working down here in terms of a monetary value and now in terms of like a fucking, you know, spirit and motivation value, because there was a point in time where, you know, during the Renegade Cup, we all got the camaraderie going. It's like, yeah, we've done a really good fucking job together. You know, we got a little bit of money on the side, but nowhere near compared to like my Counter-Strike rates, for example. You know, nowhere near that amount of money for our time, but we did some really cool stuff. We pulled together, we created a community feel, a community environment. We pulled some amazing numbers as well. We did some good stuff. You know, we did some good stuff together, and that camaraderie was what drove us to make the Renegade Cup what it was. And it was the same thing with the weeklies and the stuff like the Play and the Coliseum and, you know, the 1K Cup and all the seasonal opens, you know, because those weren't making money. We were doing that as volunteers, all of us. You were the guys that were benefiting from our fucking backs being broken, and you're going to spit it back in our face. At least say a bit of gratitude, just like a thank you very much for putting on the tournament, guys. That goes a long fucking way for a lot of people. Nah. Absolute disrespect. Trying your best to bend every little rule that you can so that you get the money and no one else can have it. Never giving anything back, never offering to help, never doing anything to improve the Rocket League space as a whole, like creating content or doing streaming or doing anything else. Nah. It's such a selfish behavior from certain people in this bubble scene. And again, you don't deserve tournaments. You don't deserve Psyonix to come through and give you the shit that you've been asking for ages, especially when you behave like this. Show them a reason. Show Psyonix a reason to come up and support a 3rd and 4th and 5th division. Show them a reason to run the Renegade Cup again. Behave yourselves. Be respectful. Create something amazing, because that is what Rocket League was built off of from the very first day. From us lot down in the fucking, you know, trenches, going to war, doing everything we can to build something great. But meanwhile, now it's not the case. Now it's never the case in that case. I've seen so many situations in the last year or so of bubble scene players getting shit and drama going on. And there was even a case where I was doing a fucking weekly and there was a massive issue raised with an admin who tried to apply the rules in a certain way because there was like a disconnect in a game. This was shortly after the rival series DC from Triple Trouble and Dem Girlz, you know, and they tried to apply the rules in the same sort of way that they did over on the rival series stuff by giving an overtime with a single goal modifier, essentially, you know, like the same sort of way that we did it on the stream. So like the application of the rules, someone disconnected, it's in the spirit to give them a fair chance. We did that, and then it got overturned because someone found this one little rule that somehow twisted it in their certain little favor, and they managed to get the whole fucking thing overturned because they wanted to win. Because they wanted to win so fucking bad, because that's all they'll ever see. That's all they'll ever see, because they're shit at the game. Guess what? You are going to be shit at the game forever because you have the shittest mentality in the world. do not fucking come around me. Do not fucking at me. I don't want to know about it, right? You want to go far? You want to see the bubble scene go far? Do something about it. Behave, get respectful, build something, contribute, do something for the bubble scene. Because for fuck's sake, you are taking away. You are taking everything away from the bubble scene, and it's all going to come crumbling one day. You will be left with nothing. And I mean nothing. Right.
Nice little vent.
Yeah, nice little event. Not quite the level of last week, but even so, still just as passionate. I'm too tired to fucking scream and shout. Anyway. Last question from the mailbag. Cameron161 asks us, well, he says, actually, a lot of time when listening to the Rocket League casters, they often say it was a great play or it was a mistake that led to a goal. Casters will hardly say it's something in between, which can be the case sometimes, i.e. forced error or made it awkward for the defending team. What do you think the reason is for that? Is it my selective memory? No broadcast features like showing boost pads picked up by attacking team to show pressure built by attacking team that led to a goal? Our team just unpredictably inconsistent or anything else? Now, I will say that from a casting perspective, there is like a lack of information for us going out. Like I compared to something like Counter-Strike, for instance, I know everything that's going on at any one moment. I have a mini-map, I have player loadouts, I have player health, I have everything. You don't get the same sort of information in Rocket League because the truth is that what you see on stream, for the most part, that is what the casters are also seeing themselves. So your little selected little viewer things is like just that little viewfinder to the game. That is all anyone is seeing, and the casters doing an amazing job just by using that much alone to get all this information, especially the color casters as well, who like have a little bit going on their way. They can use the information that they have in selected results to sort of like produce a decent piece of analysis. But yeah, we will miss things on the occasion just because there isn't enough being shown to the world, essentially, Bacon. I don't know how you feel about this, because obviously you're the color caster in this respect, but like I think that no, let's just get your thoughts on it in general. Hold on.
Yeah, so definitely over the past like 2 months with my color casting, this exact thing I've actually been picking up on quite a lot. Been talking about how boost and momentum has been a massive key factor, and yeah, trying to highlight that a lot of play at the moment is grinding down your opponents, getting them to a point where you're left with two lads like less than 20 in the tanks, and one lad might have just picked up one of the corner boosts and then rotating on in. So that's your chance to have a shot on target. But of course, not every caster can see that. Not every caster has got that mentality of putting that out, because at the same time, it's a lot easier, a lot flashier to talk about the mistake that's obvious. And of course, a lot of the guys at home can see that as well. And it's more exciting to talk about that than covering over what has been going on in the background for the last 30 seconds. So it's as much as a style choice as maybe at the same time being a lot obvious, a lot more easier to process. And maybe in some cases, it's something that's not noticed by a caster, because like you said, Jay, it's quite hard. There is as a commentator, no tracker of boost on the pitch, which if there was, no doubt that would be picked up a lot more, and it's just coming down to that's kind of what Rocket League is. If you've got a color caster that's focusing on the boost scenario, on pressure, minute demos going on in the background, just taking it from TCS last night, I know there was one double commit, which, like I said, absolutely threw them into the rotations, and about 15 seconds later they got scored upon, even though they double committed, got the ball downfield, and then it had come back to bite them ass. Like, I think that was Mine Santi in the Swiss Incredible Rebels game,
Yeah.
And it's just that point of some color commentators will pick it up, and I knew exactly on that moment because of how the play, largely because it's a slower match than if it's at RLRS or RLCS level. Going to point that out there as well. That is a lot more obvious at that level, where you can see, oh no, that's going to throw him into whack, and then it happens down the line. So naturally, I've seen that, and I've recorded in my head going, that's going to bite them in the arse, and it does happen later. But if that was another 15 seconds into the future, I might have forgotten about that. And again, this comes down to a lot of the spur of the moment with Rocket League, which is all improv. Like, stat tracking doesn't come out a lot on the broadcast. You'll notice this as well. Like, it'll happen in between games, but on broadcast itself, it won't happen, because you're naturally continuously having to watch the game to look down, find a specific stat, you're completely pulled out of the game. You can't keep that going. So
Yeah.
it's just the way of that's how Rocket League is cast, and it's hard to do it any other way.
I will say that there are improvements to be made, though. Like, I think that, you know,
definitely.
like
Always
missing
are.
out those things, like, I don't think it's necessarily just an excuse to say, oh, the game, it's all down to the game. Like, you know, because otherwise Rainbow Six casting wouldn't have thrived in the same sort of way that it does. Because you compare, like, the level of information you get from Rainbow Six compared to a Counter-Strike, and it's like, I'm sitting there as a CS caster, like, how the fuck do you even begin with this game? It's an FPS, and that should be my thing, but, like, where the fuck do you begin in terms of information game? It's like, for me, I just can't do it. But I think that even with us, Bacon, you know, with our casting, the way that we've done things, like, I think chemistry is like based off what we've done, like, I feel like chemistry could be a really important factor, which kind of comes back. Yeah, because like, here's the thing, like, I think that we both cover our own asses, or we cover each other's asses. So like, if I say something, I see something, I make a call, then you can come in with further context and explain it. So if I get it wrong, for instance, you can say, actually, no, this is what actually happened, because you're paying attention to something that I'm not paying attention to. You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason why, you know, I think that casting could be so better improved on RLCS and RLRS broadcasts, because the only duos that we actually have that work together consistently are actually on the rival series. And I'm just like, mate, like, the top tier talent are in championship series. What are you guys doing? You know, like, you put those guys in definitive duos so that way they build up that chemistry. That way the casting gets better on the long term, rather than fucking around with, you know, putting Achieves and Turtle together. Like, what is that combination?
I'm just gonna say right now, because there has been slightly more dedicated combos and duos for this season, notice how much better the commentating for RLCS has been this season over last. Like, it's still not perfect, but it is wildly better over last season. It is just because beforehand it felt like they just had everyone's names in a hat and they were pulling out two at a time going, oh, today we've got James Bond and Achieves. Sure thing, throw them in the commentary booth. Whereas now they're like, okay, we know that, you know, Jorby has got that hype. He's working quite well, of course, along Achieves. Like, that is the best duo there is. Corelli has a little bit more hype about himself than James Bond does, so he works better with Turtle, and like, it's getting a bit better on that front. Of course, when Shogun and Johnny came on in, they're a natural duo, they always have, so it makes sense to put them together. It was a little interesting seeing them split on up for the NA stuff, but it made sense because, of course, both of them don't have as deep a knowledge over into NA, so Jorby being mixed up with Johnny worked well enough in the Shogun with, was it Achieves? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Didn't get to see all of the NA content, of course, but it made more sense this season, and you can see what they're trying to do. But yeah, it just comes down to, like you said, a lot of it can be chemistry with each other. It can be what the casters are looking for, and just personal style.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
skill, I guess, as well, can be thrown into that.
Yeah, obviously, you know, there's always going to be a certain level of skill involved in that sort of casting thing. But yeah, no, I think that there are improvements to be made in terms of the game and in terms of the way broadcasts are organized. You know, like, just group casters together and say, right, you guys are going to be permanently casting all your games together, and we would have a much better situation. We wouldn't be missing so much as well. But yeah, no, it is obviously a pet peeve. Something we like talking about a lot, Bacon, is casting. Hopefully we get some more casting questions soon. We might actually do like a caster special, so we'll have a chat about that a little bit later on down the road. But again, thank you, Cameron, for your question. I think that wraps about everything for the mailbag. Again, if you do want to get involved in the mailbag, the show notes and video descriptions of every single episode of the podcast, follow that Discord link. I need to burp, excuse me.
Well, actually, there's an interesting point there, and I guess I can really highlight a point right now, and it comes that, like, I'm not trying to, like, hurt on Johnny Boy or whatsoever.
I thought we moved the fuck on from this.
No, because I think this is a great example of that last point. Sorry, I just thought of it in my head. And it comes down to also what casters are seeing. When you're generally watching a game, especially if you're doing something like Psyonix Ray or whatever, you don't have access. You're watching, like, those guys are watching it through vMix or whatever, so they just have direct to cam what's going out on broadcast. Whereas you'll notice Johnny Boy's analysis of games was a lot better during TEI, and you're all seeing what he's seeing, and Johnny is going through the players individually. So that also makes sense if you can think of he's not used to commentating with that style direct cam where he has no control. He's only got that very specific vision of stuff going on. Whereas admittedly, it was fucking annoying to watch because like lad had Parkinson's or something quite often was, changing between cameras. I'm being super harsh, no offense to anyone there, just a joke. But you know what I mean? Whereas as a viewer, it was less appealing to watch Johnny Boy's stream just from a spectating point. But that is what he's doing to give you the best vocal commentary there is. And you can see there is a big difference in why, in some cases, like if you're doing something for rival series, the common thing for a color caster quite often can also be like one of the styles I definitely know because I used to do it and Danny still does it, is like a sort of bird's eye view so you can see a large proportion of the pitch. Not necessarily the auto cam, which is like rotating with it, but keeping still so that you can then also look at the rotations of players and like get a little bit of an overview over everything that's happening. But of course, if you're one of those players, and it's the reason why I took away from it and do everything from direct cam now, is that you're in a scenario where you can't control the camera like we've had a lot in the past there, Jay, and you're just there suddenly going from that to like the overhead bird's eye view down to a director cam. You suddenly can't do color commentary at all. No. So I'm just saying that's also a large reason.
Well, various changing circumstances can be a little bit weird, but we'll move on from that. And I guess talking about Johnny Boy's sort of performance in TEI allows us to transition nicely over to TEI. Ooh. But again, if you want to get involved in the mailbag, the show notes and video descriptions of where it's at, follow that Discord link and send us a mailbag question in the mailbag channel, and chances are we'll answer it live or recorded, apparently, on an episode of RLAfterShock. Right. TEI. So... last time we left off, we had RC Espanol in the losers round 3. We had Singularity and Sandrock in the winners finals. And the whole tournament has particularly picked up and all finished up by this point here, Bacon. So I went through those results for you real quick. Sandrock beat Singularity 4-2 in those winners finals to take the game advantage in the grand finals. Meanwhile, in the lower bracket, RCD Espanol beat Endpoint just about at 4-3. Singularity beat RCD at 4-2. And then they went on to 5-game sweep in the weighted best of 9 against Sandrock Gaming. 5-1. Singularity become the champions of TEI. Now, I'll be honest, Bacon, I kind of stopped caring about TEI after last week, so I didn't really watch any of these matches. So the floor is yours to talk about whatever the fuck you want to about this tournament. Tell me some storylines you've been chasing on this one.
So, did you watch this the first Singularity versus Sandrock?
I didn't
game?
watch any of them.
So, near enough, Singularity were playing a very much more traditional style to them. So, Sandrock, just by or just put it down to the brief description, were just the faster team, beating them out to a lot of balls. That's just what happened. Now, come around to the lower bracket stuff, Singularity don't have to deal with RLCS anymore. They go and prepare and beat Espanol to everything. Espanol did not look bad at all. Like, we saw them towards the end of RLRS and they just really looked a little bit flip-floppy, and here they looked good. Now, is this purely because, like, on the contrary to what we were saying about how teams weren't really caring about this tournament, I think Espanol did care about RL about TEI because they were safe in RLRS and they were gunning for, and I mean they came out third at the end of the day because they looked impressive against Endpoint and Triple Trouble beforehand and Veloce way on earlier. Now again, you can contribute that to if one team's not performing, the other team then looks really good because they're actually trying for it. But come down to that lower finals and Singularity beat them. But it was a good series. Like, that is my highlight series of the entire tournament that I would say I really enjoyed for the nuances of the game. But go through to that grand final. Now, I don't know if it's because they've just brought on Jake as new coach and he's worked his magic with the team. But for me, it seems like it was just simply the team went back, looked at what Sandrock did against them, and fixed all of their problems. And Sandrock on the opposite end didn't have any answers to what they were doing. The big one there goes into game 3 where Singularity are 4-0 up. And this was a really interesting turning point because Sandrock brought it back to 4-3. But the question, and everyone was going, oh, is this the chance for Sandrock to turn it around? No. Singularity was so smart in this series that they stopped being a super uber aggressive style, beating Sandrock to the ball and every single time, and just went ultra defensive. Now, Jay, if I ask you just without seeing the series, why do you think they would do that?
Because Sandrock are the most aggressive team in this tournament, and they've been known to just have such a ridiculous striking element that has caught teams off guard, right?
No.
So we're just against it, right? Well,
no.
Okay, go on.
Singularity, if they're 4-0 up, aren't going to give away their strats, not going to let Sandrock adapt on that spot to their winning playstyle. They're going to swap it all up, go into defense because they have got the buffer. They're not going to allow Sandrock to gain any advantage, work out, get that one sudden point where Sandrock find the weakness in Singularity. No, they'll change up, go uber defensive, which they're not comfortable by. They know they're going to be on the back foot for the rest of that. But at the same time, that can give Sandrock some very, very false courage going forward. This was a mind game and a half played by Singularity. And if they can keep that up going into next season, it bodes so well for this team because they played that series perfectly.
I have to say, by the way, that is like that is textbook Singularity right there. Because what was the thing that got them through the Vitality series in RLCS?
Exactly.
Preparation. And what have they got through in Sandrock Gaming? Preparation. I can see this team going quite far in the long term if they can keep that preparation going here, Bacon. But on the flip side towards Sandrock Gaming, I don't want to be smug about this, okay? But based on what you said, it almost is as if we were right, that is, as soon as teams get the chance to adjust in a way that teams like Dignitas were not doing in their series against Sandrock Gaming, Sandrock kind of fall apart. And I hate to burst the bubble again. I don't mean to be smug about this, but I was kind of fucking right last week, wasn't I?
At the same time,
because here's the thing. Here's the thing,
games
right?
of their life over the TEI. That is the best I've ever seen these lads playing. And there's also the caveat of even then, there's probably no VODs to go back over, nothing for the lads of RCD Espanol and what have you, Singularity to go look at to try and come up with a strategy going against Sandrock. Like realistically, yes, by the playoffs they could have gone back over the group stages, but it's all very wibbly wobbly because it's not 1-to-1s where you would have to be looking for a team with a very similar play style to you. And it just comes down to the point there that as soon as Singularity had that VOD evidence, that work to go back on, they could turn it around so easily, and they did, So it goes down to Sandrock by being that sort of wild card there, and it shows why we love wild cards in tournaments as well, Jay, doesn't it? That they can throw everything into the washing machine and put it on a spin because it's so exciting to see that. And again, this also lets us point out that yes, Sandrock are a good team. Like if they made a run for RLRS, in the planes, like I'm not going with the ludicrous nutters that are saying, they're RLCS worthy, because quite frankly, they're not. Yeah. But if they were to go for a run for the planes, I would probably say, from the performance of the bottom 4 teams this season, they could be in RLRS. There is no, nothing going against them for that. Apart from, like we said, in the other tournaments where they're losing out to bubble teams here and there. But it just goes to show that Sandrock, for me, it felt like they had a string of good on-the-day performances. They were feeling good in TEI. And this finals where they got tilted off the fucking face of the earth when they couldn't get anything going shows a core underlying problem with Sandrock, and it just means that yes, they aren't worth the hype that fucking was thrown at them, but still just massive respect for these guys to come on in. They were the weakest team out of them all coming into it because of their experience, what they should be going up to, but they put on a show, and I think we all enjoyed it.
Yeah, again, I'll give fair credit because Sandrock did have a good run. I won't take that away from them. But again, just mostly aim to those fans, like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's not the team, it's the fans. That's the problem,
right? You're the reason why I hate Sandrock, right? And I have nothing against those players. I'm sure if I was there to sit down... Yeah, same with Cloud9. You know, I fucking hate Cloud9. I fucking hate Cloud9. Not because, I hate Cloud9. I hate G2. Not because of the fact that the players or the way that they play. I think that the way that they play Rocket League is great. It's just the fact that fans are so fucking annoying, and it's the same thing with Sandrock. Unfortunately, is that you guys have been cursed by the fact of getting super hyped up, and now, unfortunately, now that the first loss has come down, everyone's abandoned the hype train for this team. And again, it's so fucking good to see because like the sensible people have come out to actually like shut down some of the final few stragglers who tried to post threads on Reddit. There was one where this guy he got net 0 points on his Reddit thread. SRG is the only team to beat Dignitas and Vitality this season, by the way, as he has to say. Everyone shut it down with some absolute fucking memeage and like, you know, fact checking. It was, you know, fucking beautiful. It was beautiful to see. You know, the only real positive comments were on the Reddit thread for the VOD of that series, which were actually reasonable. You know, some people saying, look, they had a good run, it was great. But let's be real here, guys. You know, like it was a combination of people not caring and the fact that it was the shock of Sandrock coming out and doing so well and having such a different play style that really got everything going. As soon as a team found a way to adjust it, they did not look good at all. That is the bottom line for Singularity. That is the reason why they won. And I'll be excited to see what Sandrock can do going forward, assuming they get the chance to play in Rival Series. We don't know whether that's going to be the case just yet. We don't know if they're going to make adjustments to the rule set for that. I don't know if they're eligible for the Spring Series either, Bacon. I have not checked that part on the rulebook, although chances are I can take a look. I can take a look real quick. Let's have a look for eligibility. In Section 5, player age... Rocket League EULA, Psyonix affiliation, teams and players, good standing, additional restrictions, team formation rules, team relationships, team ownerships, code of conduct. No, there's not. Well, that's a fucking problem. Well, I would add more. I would try and see if I can get some information on that, but I don't know if they are. But there you go.
No account, like from everything we've seen in the past, it's nationality or residency, and they have neither of that for Europe.
Yeah, pretty much. So we'll see whether or not they do end up playing off. If they do, then fair play. We'll see how far they go. But again, I wouldn't be so hyped and excited about Sandrock going forward from here. And the hype train has left the station, and most of the people have gotten off. So there you go. Anything else you want to talk about TEI before we head out and talk about something else?
No, that's pretty much it. Like, it's good to see RCD back in action because, you know, we got the promotion playoffs coming on up, so that bodes well for them because previously the last few weeks of them was a little bit naff, so, you know, I was worried there for a moment. I'll say that, you know.
Indeed. So there you go. Singularity champions of TEI, and now we can forget this tournament even ever happened. So... Rival Series, Bacon, final week between the teams of the Rival Series Championship. So, we had 4 matches to play out, some with varying levels of significance, so I'll just go from top to bottom. Although I will say that most of the results are actually very underwhelming, so don't hold your breath for anything major coming through if you're listening to this and you haven't seen those results. Notorious Legion took on Servette Geneva in the first match of week 7, 3-0'd them, easy peasy lemon squeezy. In the second match, RCD barely got the win above Baguette Squad at 3-2 on the board. Then in the penultimate match of the night, RJM managed to beat Dem Girlz 3-0 on the sweep, and BDS beat Triple Trouble at 3-0 on the sweep. So, your final standings for the Rival Series this season. BDS at top of the table, 8-1, tied with RCD Espanyol, but separated by a +19 versus a +7 game differential. They are going to be taking AS Monaco's spot. They are in the Championship Series for Season 10, Bacon, and I have to say it was a very well-deserved sort of run for BDS as well. In second place, of course, is the RCD Espanyol squad. They are taking the top seed going into the promotion playoffs. Solari also in third position at 7-2. With +11 on the game difference. 4th through 6th, all tied up at 5-4, with +8 for Notorious Legion at the top end of that table. RJM and Triple Trouble tied at +4 between them. I think they're separated by the fact that RJM beat Triple Trouble earlier on in the season, so they'll get another season in the Rival Series regardless. And from 7th through 10th is as follows: Dem Girlz, Vertex, Servette Geneva, and Baguette Squad to close out the season of the RLRS. Of course, Baguette Squad not getting a single win on their board as a result of their loss against RCD, but that is the first thing I want to talk about here, Bacon. Because last week we questioned RCD's potential form because we looked at them saying, look, they shouldn't be taking to game 5 against Servette Geneva. They shouldn't have been allowed even allowed this reverse sweep to come up. And they did it again against Baguette Squad, who are objectively the worst team in the fucking league. So they almost got upset, and they almost potentially, I believe, lost their position in the top two. And that could have fucked them big time. That could have fucked them really big time. I mean, even so, actually, that I've actually taken a look at the stats and the specific results that RCD have had over the course of the season. And something we've been remiss to mention is the fact that every single game, with the exception of their loss to BDS and their win against Dem Girlz, have been Game 5 matches. Notorious Legion 3-2, Baguette Squad 3-2, Solari 3-2, RJM 3-2, Servette Geneva 3-2, Vertex 3-2, Triple Trouble as well 3-2. Like, all of these results have gone to Game 5, and it's like, I feel like maybe we haven't been looking at the full picture with RCD as of late, because like, this does not feel like the confident team that we said, yeah, they're fucking legit. You know, especially looking at these results, looking at their form in the last couple of weeks. What's going on with this squad, mate?
So it's a weird one, because there is the natural thing. There was a good meme put out on Reddit of, oh, if RCD lost all Game 5s, they'd be the worst team in the league. Like, that's a big flop and changeover, you know? But looking at this, for me, it just feels like RCD have got some core issues of inconsistency, and that needs to be picked up. And it's not inconsistency week on, week out, because, you know, 8-1, but just during games. They can have games where they just do not hit. The big example for me right there is against that Baguette Squad game. 1-0 to Baguette Squad, 1-0 to Baguette Squad, 2-1 to RCD Espanol in OT, 58 seconds. 5-0 to RCD Espanol, 4-0 to RCD Espanol. Just, guys, did you not warm up? Did you literally play from bed, half looking over on your side at your screen, get to Game 3 and go, all right, might rock on out now and hop onto your, you know, chair? What I don't know what is going on to this team, and it feels like it dipped even harder for me personally once they became safe, because beforehand, you know, when week 1 going up against Triple Trouble, that was a well fought win. Solari in week 2, they had to hard win for that as well, and especially like I'll give a little bit more leeway to Dem Girlz in week 2 as well, but it just felt like as soon as RCD had got far, that's when they stopped, I'm going to say, coming out of the gates absolutely running. You know, they just got a little bit, I want to say, complacent. So the problem being that teams they're going up against when it comes to this promotion relegation tournament, like we've got TSM and Endpoint. Endpoint will give them a challenge, we know that, but TSM, that complacency, I don't think is going to hurt them. I think what's really going to hurt them is Solari, who we know play with passion.
Yeah, I will say that, like, you know, on the board, the two teams that will be coming up from the rival series to challenge in the promotion playoffs, like, Solari look in better form right now. RCD, you know, like, even though they haven't got as many wins on the board, like, you compare their victories in contrast, and they have a lot more 3-0s and 3-1s on the board compared to how RCD have had it in previous weeks.
Sorry, I'm going to come in and say with TEI as well, RCD looked fired up for that. So it's a weird little one of, is it just they need the pressure? They need the oomph to really go far. You know, that off the back of that means they should be fine in these promotion playoffs. But it just feels like they're so inconsistent at the moment. And I know I'm probably going to get some hate for the fans, but I think they need another season in the rival series to really propel them to the greatness that they could be, because these are 3 amazing players. Like, straight up, I see them all being comfortable in RLCS, or not comfortable, but of that quality that they can challenge, much more deserving than ASM and TSM this season. We have to say, like, if they were there instead of those teams, I think they would have really worked and could have even done better, put on much interesting gameplay, to say the least. But it just comes down to, I think, for the longevity of this team, another season in the rival series would probably do them right. It's a little bit like BDS, how long it took them to finally get the gusto, to get the oomph to go far. ARG always had good backing, always looked decent, but coming to this season, like we said, we didn't see them play any of the off-season tournaments, and we don't get a massive knowledge into scrims because a lot of teams like to keep that between themselves. But it seems BDS did the right work in the off-season, get picked up by a very decent, sizable, up-and-coming org, and they seem to have put all the work in correctly to make their way on through, and they've been rewarded. For me, with RCD, they've got all the backing behind them. It just feels like the players have got to gain consistency, and I feel like instead of jumping straight on into the fire of the RLCS, that another season in the rival series where they are going to get so much hungry talent that's trying to push them would be better for this team. And like, you know, if they make it on through to the RLCS, good. They've earned it, of course. But if they don't, it's not the end of the world. I reckon this team is going to come back next season stronger than ever.
Honestly, I have to agree with you on that front. Honestly, you know, I think that this team obviously showed some great talent in the early season, but they have dropped off, and I feel like they can't really play with that pressure, that pressure style in the championship series. If they make it in and they have to, like, you know, go to game 5 or go to reverse sweep in order to try and beat out some of the best teams in the world, it's not going to get them very far. You know, like, I just don't think it will. Even though they can't have proven that they can handle themselves and adjust, but
It's
against rival series
SM.
caliber, it's against a rival series caliber, that there's a different story to a championship series caliber, because once they've got a beat on you in a lower level team, they've got you on the ropes, and RCD won't be able to get back off those ropes. They'll be tied in the fucking corner. They won't be able to move. And I think you're right. You know, I think that potentially they, in terms of just early predictions, we'll get into more detail in a future episode when it comes time for the promotion playoffs. I think that RCD probably were going to lose out their position in the promotions and then go on to and then go on to spend another season in rival series before they're really ready for it. I feel, you know, that to me feels like it's the best case scenario for this team, again, for the longevity of this team, because you know, longevity in rival series has proven to be pretty a pretty decent sort of little pickup for this squad. I did want to go on the flip side, though, however, for the RCD result for against Baguette squad, because we've noticed in the last couple of weeks, obviously, they have had a couple of subs, one sub in particular. They've got Ben Nizith. How the fuck do you say that? I don't even know.
And that's because Yukis stepped off the roster, ain't it?
Yeah. So Ben Nezeth is stepped in for week 6 and week 7 against Triple Trouble and RCD. And I have to say, this Baguette squad with him was looking so much better. So much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. He has been shown himself as a class player, and going into the off season, like, even if he doesn't stick with Baguette squad, say they break up, which I don't think is going to happen. There is a lot of a French community behind Baguette squad. Like, your biggest example of just going to see that is over to the Rocket Baguette Rising Stars, so the French stuff, because I'm just going to quickly pull that up on my screen right now. How many parody Baguette squad teams are there, Jay? Because it is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the Baguette squad. Like, what the fuck?
And it just comes down to Baguette squad is no longer a team, but a community. So if there has to be a reformed Baguette squad, they'll probably take the best of the best out of France and put them back in together. I'd imagine still with Swooping and Ritual, to be honest. And it just comes down to who is the lucky third that joins them.
We'll find out. I'm not sure whether or not this team will stick together and stay together for the next season of the Rival Series. We'll find out very soon. Again, we'll see if they can compete together in the Spring Series. There's no reason not to if they want to take their stab at it, if they want to try and swap some rosters about. But that's a story for another day. For now, though, we're going to move on. Talk about Dem Girlz. They are out with a whimper rather than a sigh. And this performance against RJM was just... Oh, man, like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, Bacon. Like, they had such high hopes coming into this season. They started out on poor form. They ended on poor form. And that's it. That's it for this team. I'm just so upset because of the fucking how much we bigged up. How much we bigged up this team. We bigged up big talents among the likes of fucking, you know, Exo and Breezy. Like, you know, we were there just like, these guys are going to be in the future. They're going to be amazing. And we said it for years, Bacon. We said it for years that they had the talent that was necessary to go into the rival series. And it's just these last couple of weeks have made everybody question those fucking things that we've said. Even though I still believe in Dem Girlz and that duo in particular. But there's a good chance now that these three players are going to go their separate ways and we'll never get to see, you know, what became of that duo in the end. But, like, what happened here? What happened here with We Dem Girlz? Like, let's do a post-mortem of their whole fucking season here.
Yeah. It comes down to largely not the abilities of the players, because they're all fantastic players, but the mentalities of the players. And don't know if that's part ego, part how they want to play, whatever. But as a unit, this team was just star-studded from the get-go, near enough. Like the whole story of Greasy picking up 2 hot new talents, and straight from week 1, from beforehand, Jay, straight from the start, I said, this is a team that won't do well at the start. I thought RCD, Espanol, Vertex, were going to hit the ground running because of their playstyles. But down the line, We Dem Girlz would finally click. They would learn how to properly play with each other. And did that happen? No. They did not learn anything from this season. Hopefully, they come away with a few takeaways now that they've been hit hard. Like, you look towards Ixa and Breezy, and this was finally their big shot at RLRS, and they blew it. Straight up, straight simple. But I think if these players can take that hit and go with it, this is going to be the best for them career-wise, because they are fantastic players still. Just as a team, they were a dreadful team for each other. It does not mix. Realistically, I'm going to say it right now, I think Eeks and Breezy should be done. Like, this should be them just learning, cutting the losses, and go and try and work on themselves solo. Greasy probably needs to learn that if he wants to be a captain to harbor a new team and go forward, he has got to take the steps to do that. He can't be thinking about himself as a player and trying to be that star-studded player. He needs to look at a team and go, right, this is the gap I need to fill. I'm the player with the most experience. I need, fucking Greasy's a world champion. Why do we always often forget that, Back on flip side, he needs to go. Well, I'm that lad who needs to, when you got 2 younger players, to fill the gap around them, especially since it's those 2 lads who have been playing together for so long. Allow them to make it, because it is the best option. But no, I feel like quite often he just went, I want to be up in the attack. I want to be scoring goals.
I mean, think about the teams that he's been on outside of Flipside Tactics. Because, yeah, he had that Flipside Tactics run at Season 2 where, him and the rest of that legendary team fucking smashed it out of the world. But then think about his teams after the fact. Team Envy, Complexity. Those have all been disasters for him and for this team and for the teams that they had. Mostly because he was moving in
different reasons. I'm going to give this lad that. Greasy is not a bad player.
But the connecting thread has always been Greasy. I can't
coincidences. You
think
at Envy,
really?
The problem was always Remco.
Are you going to go down? Are you going to go down the fucking championship series analysis desk route of saying, "Look, it's not in the roster move. It's not in the roster move." Guys, I can sense patterns when I fucking see them.
Remco. Remco has not been RLCS quality for a long time. I thought for a glimmer for the very first game this season that Remco could have changed. Nope. Last season it was Flakes and his fucking ego, and I'm amazed that Barcelona has somehow survived with that lot of them, but who knows?
I mean, fine.
When it comes down to Greasy has been a bad situation. Maybe it's because he puts himself in bad situations. Who knows? But this season, again, like I said, as the captain, as the one leading the squad, I put the blame on him for not making the adjustments, but it's the whole unit as a whole. Beforehand, it was not on him. It's Flakes being an utter arsehole. And before that, Remco just... I mean, rightfully so, trying to hold up his spot within the RLCS, but realistically, he was the one that should have been on the chopping block, and none of his teammates going, no, dude, it's you.
It's just, man, look, dude, I'm sorry, but I'm looking at all these rosters and all the history that Greasy has, and I'm just not, I'm not disagreeing with you the fact that he's a bad player. I think he's a great player. I think he's amazing, I think that he has potential, and he's got the experience there to do some damage, but I'm just looking at their history and looking at the rosters he's been part of, and I can just see this common connecting thread. Like, something is not right here. And it's the same reasons as well, because we said with complexity as well when he came into this team, that this team will not work because the synergy is not there. The team play will not exist. And it's the same thing here with this Dem Girlz side. Like, you know, there's common issues and common threads that I'm seeing between Greasy Meister and his particular teams. And I agree with you. He does need to adjust and try and find a different way of approaching the game if he wants to try and become a captain to, you know, some younger players and some younger talents. Because I think that honestly, he should have been in a position to enable guys like Ixo, Ixo and Breezy. But like, you know, I still believe that if Greasy was cut and we got someone else in, then I think that Ixo and Breezy could still go far. You know, I still believe it. I still believe Bacon, you know, and I'm not just saying that because they listen to the show.
All three of them can go far. That's what I'm saying. But as a unit, they were just really scuffed. And it comes down to every single person. Like I said, I only put the blame on the captain because it should have been the captain's job to change up that team and make sure that it works so that they can survive in the rival series.
Well, in that respect, I think a captain change may still recover this team. You know, I still think there's something
Possibly.
there. I still think that there's something there, and I think that honestly, I would like to see Ixo and Breezy have another crack at it with another third. I really that is genuinely what I think. Maybe I'm chasing shadows or something like that. But I just you know I genuinely think that, you know, this team could have gone far, and that the main issue was team play, yes, but I think that there should have been there should have been Greasy on the chopping block for this, in my opinion. I think that that's the case. Anyways. Let's move on and talk about one final storyline, of course, BDS being the dominating force here. We didn't give them enough credit. I certainly will say I didn't give them enough credit this season. I looked at them saying, look, they're just going to plateau, possibly fall off the back of their weird
No one had reason to give them credit before the season.
Absolutely no. Like, you know, think about what AOG did in season 8. You know, they didn't do fuck all. You know, we talked about them saying, look,
they got picked up by BDS. There was no reason going to the season for BDS to pick them up. So this is, I would even argue, a Rocket League miracle.
I don't know about a miracle. Maybe calculated from BDS. I guess they had a lot of stake in Monkey Moon, because obviously he's the newest element of the squad. I think he's been there for like a season and a bit now. So like, I don't want to say he's the new element of the squad. But like, I think that it's come together for this team pretty well so far. And again, they've had a lot more impressive results compared to the likes of RCD, who we had pinned as being the team that would auto promote. You know, they've had some really great results, some 3-0s against some really big teams, including taking a 3-0 against RCD. Like, they've been great. They have been so great so far this season. And this final result that they had against Triple Trouble, I said, look, there's potential for an upset. Like, that 3-0 does not say upset anywhere near it to me. Yes, the first one result went to overtime, but other than that, like, BDS had Triple Trouble's number every step of the way. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much, and I'm really excited to see what BDS can do. It probably is like, you know, preseason sort of like, you know, promotion hype and shit, but I've got my eyes closely drilled to BDS for this one.
Yeah, BDS sort of only flew on the radar compared to RCD because of that first week loss. You know, they were down on them. And then when they started to really make their push, I would say around about week 4, like they had already taken down Solari, who... did they take down? Yeah, they took down Solari in week 2 on the B stream. And it sort of like was by that point of in week 4, we knew who the top teams were. And then it was like, oh, BDS are actually legit. Whereas beforehand, we didn't know that. We thought, you know, Dem Girlz would have been one of the top teams. So you didn't pay any attention to BDS in that first week, expecting them to get that loss as well. You got to think, because like we said, coming into the season, no one expected anything from them. Going to week 2, they beat Solari. That's fine. This is the new French team that's coming on through. Week 3, BDS take down Notorious Legion, who were looking good. You know, they took down RJM in a 3-0 sweep, we have to say as well. And then going to week 4, where BDS took down Baguette Squad, Servette Geneva. Oh shit, suddenly BDS are looking 4-1 in league play. That's legit.
Yeah, no, and they've had a legit season. Again, I gotta eat my own fucking hat on that one, because like they had a really good run, and I'm blown away. You know, I'm impressed. You know, I think a lot of people are impressed, especially if you've been following the rival series as closely as we have, as closely as some of the hardcore rival series fans. You know, like and the guys that are working on rival series as well. Like, you know, the story for BDS is truly one of struggle more than anything else, but it's paid off in the end for them, and I'm really happy about that. You know, I think.
I've got to say 26-7 is an incredible.
Is that their game count?
That is their game count compared to last season. You know, that's crazy. Discombobulator's last season was 24-10. Season beforehand, just because we can pull it up, you know, Wikipedia, thank God. Veloce, of course, this was in 8 teams back then, but 21-8 on the perfect season. And they went, like I said, 26-7. This is the most solid team we've had, arguably, coming out of rival series in a long time, in a very highly stacked competition as well. When we're talking about RCD Espanol, Slow, Notorious Legion had some great performances in there. RGM were teetering in and out. And then, of course, Triple Trouble, Dem Girlz on top. This has literally been a trial by fire for BDS, and they've proven everyone wrong.
Absolutely, you know, and again, proving me wrong, probably one of the most vocal critics over the course of this season. So credit to them, congratulations. They're going to be in Championship Series for Season 10, and that basically rounds out all that we have to talk about on the Rival Series. But we know that we missed out a couple teams. We haven't talked about every single team over the course of this show and over the course of the season. So again, make sure you join that Discord where you can discuss all that and more. As part of the RLAfterShock community. Again, show notes and video descriptions, follow that link and get involved in the conversation. Now, let's move on to the big dogs. Let's move on to the big shit, I guess you could say, for this season. It is the playoffs of the European region, Bacon, and we expected a showing. We expected some fun little times. Certainly some unexpected results, though, I have to say. I'm semi-pleasantly surprised in certain cases, semi-disappointed in other ones. I
think I got every prediction wrong. I think the only prediction I realistically got right was Dignitas beating out, and I thought it was going to be Rec there, and Vitality beating out, who I thought was going to be Veloce. Yeah. So I got those right, but that's just because they're the easy picks. Everything else I got wrong. So, you know, I think that just goes to show the day.
I had the exact same victories. I think we had slightly different score lines in terms of the series themselves, but like I definitely remember us. I definitely remember seeing these results look out saying, holy shit, me and Bacon couldn't have got it more wrong if we tried. Outside of potentially predicting Red Vitality and Dignitas not to make it into the grand finals, but I digress. So let's run through some of those results, shall we, Bacon? Actually, I'll do that bit afterwards. I was going to do the pick and predictions, but I'll do that after the fact, so we see how we stack up to the rest of the Aftershock community. But results for the playoffs: Mousesports 4-0 up above Reciprocity, absolutely stunned them into submission to go on and face Dignitas in those semi-finals. Meanwhile, in the lower bracket, it was FC Barcelona beating Veloce 4-2 on that board, and then stunning Reciprocity again 4-1 to eliminate them from the lower bracket to face Renault Vitality, where they would eventually fall to that 4-1 result. Meanwhile, back in the semi-finals, Dignitas took that 4-3 close series against Mousesports to meet Renault Vitality in the Dream Clash, which definitely proved to be the Dream Clash, because Renault Vitality conceded to Dignitas 4-2. But what a fucking series it was. We'll cover that in more detail in a moment. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up to the top. We'll start with Reciprocity, because I do admit, I think that they were the disappointment of this playoff, man. We talked a lot last week.
Playoffs, sorry? Like, I don't think I saw them on the pitch, you know?
Well, last week we talked about how disciplined this side was, and we were saying, look, man, they're doing great. You know, that I think we found a resurgence against Dignitas. You know, they've played really disciplined. They played really well. You know, Dignitas were having a very serious issue on their side, and then Reciprocity came to this one, and they did not look like even a shadow of that final week performance. They did not look like even a shell.
The final nail in the coffin for this team is done. Everyone for so long has gone, you can't change up Reciprocity. They've been together for so long. You can't do that to them. And then after this regionals, you look at that and go, yeah, we need a change up in Reciprocity.
Yeah, they do. They really do. I mean, look, I don't want to be the guy to say it, because I really like this team. I really like what they've done. But at this point, where else do you go? You know, like we've said for ages, hang in there, improved mentality. But they've had that improvement. They hit those heights, and then it fell off the edge of a cliff. So now what else is there? Try and wait for mentality to improve again? Like, you know, who's got that level of patience to hope to God the meta shifts back to your favor again in another 2 years' time? Like, it's not going to happen.
It's the point of Reciprocity needs an amputation right now. You know, you like your foot, but if it's gone beyond fuck, fucked, you got to amputate it, and
if
that
you've got
is the
ankle
kind
cancer,
of thing.
right? Look, get rid of that shit as soon as fucking possible. No, but like I just. Man, I'm so upset. I'm so upset because I genuinely believe, based off of their last-second resurgence, and considering the fact that they had Mousesports, they should have eaten Mousesports for breakfast. They didn't even score a single game against them.
They're playing with a sub. The lad who, don't get me wrong, has had, a week with 2 games worth of experience and looked decent for it, and they were 2 wins, but it was still a shadow of what Mouse should have been playing at. They had every single best possibility Reciprocity there to make top 4. And if they had dropped to Dignitas, no one would have thought any different as long as they had taken 1 game off, because Dig were fantastic recently. And you go to this and you drop like the way they did, 4-0. Yeah, they got an OT in there, and there was, 0-0 OT as well, we have to remind you. And the last game 4, did only get won by 1 goal in a 1-goal game. But then you go up against Barca, and they just looked... No, they just look dreadful in that whole sort of fucking series. When Barcelona, we have to say, throughout this whole week, didn't look great. They went back to that high-punching form, but they were better than we had seen in the last fucking 2 weeks. They weren't like back up to 100%, but they were back up to 90, and Reciprocity got schooled.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more details on FC Barcelona later, but I have to agree. The thing about it is that for extra context, for those of you who want to know how badly that Mousesports series went, they scored a single goal in 4 games. They scored 8 goals over their entire 2 series run. So that's 9 games total. FC Barcelona scored 10 in their series against Reciprocity alone. Mousesports scored 8 in their series against Reciprocity alone. So Reciprocity scored 8 over their entire playoff run. I'm so upset. I'm so upset, Bacon, because I thought, yes, this team does not have to make any changes. No one's on the chopping block. They've got another opportunity. And then suddenly this week comes along and they shit the fucking bed. And you can tell they're dejected about it. You can tell that they gave it their all. Because Reciprocity as well, right? They need money more than ever because they're going to be out of contracts, out of salaries, out of a job in the coming few weeks, potentially month or so. And so, the money that they could have gotten from being regional champions, would have set them up to the point where they would have been able to hold their own and keep their position in the Rocket League series, Rocket League scene, until they found a team who could sort them out. So
well, does this go back to the point we made ages ago? Not only just LAN stress, but is it just stress in total? This team does not deal with well. Is that a valid point for them? Of course, LAN, you get it's much higher. Look at last Worlds, and we have to say, everyone was there what the fuck happened to this team on that? Comes around to this, they look decent all season long. Not the best all season long, we have to say. We go back to the Mousesports Reciprocity game in week 2, and both teams were dreadful for that, but that's just how it sometimes stacks up. But just you come to this right now, and where, with everything that's going on, this team is there looking at it going, shit, if we've got to do well so that we look favorable for other orgs, and then suddenly that stress gets to them, especially when Mousesports are there trying their darndest with Arju. Barcelona, this is their redemption run, and we always see a team I think it's near enough history right now that the team that comes through from that 5th, 6th game goes through to being top 4. It's always absolutely crazy how it works out like that, because you get that gusto, that sort of oomph about yourself, and it just seems that Reciprocity was just, it weren't in the cards them today. But is that down to stress getting to them?
Well, I mean, for last season's Worlds, it's slightly mitigating circumstances in that respect, because with that side...
Worlds?
No. Fuck off. No,
we
with
can't.
that, because here's the thing, is with that side, there was a lot of logistical issues that I think really hampered that team's performance in the last World Championship. Based off what I've heard, talking to them and talking to and hearing stuff from behind the scenes, I feel like that that tournament can be a rightful write-off, but obviously, to come into this particular tournament, I agree with the pressure point because, like, how many times has it been for Reciprocity? They've always had this historical choking when they were PSG. They were, had this historical choking issue on LAN events. They had a bit of an online spout earlier on during the season where it was like, okay, are they going to start, choking in these results as well? And they did for a lot of cases. I don't even think that Reciprocity would have even been in this position if FC Barcelona hadn't even bottled it in the last week. There's a good chance that they could have been in 5th or 6th fighting in that lower round 1 position. So, like, Reciprocity all in all, I just think it's been a bit of an awkward season, a very disaster season for them. And, much like towards Jam's question earlier on in the podcast, I think roster moves are on the horizon for this team. They're out of options. They really are out of options, and they're about to be out of a job soon, man. Like, it's going to be a very stressful time to be the squad.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say, but of course, like, they've made a fair bit of money this season, so that should be able to give them a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of safety going into next. But of course, we hope the best of this team. We want them to get picked up by a baller new org, but of course, it's a little bit bleak. We're looking at Rocket League at the moment, and we're seeing good signs with orgs picking on up teams. But naturally, with the world climate as it is right now, it's a risky old time.
Yeah, Reciprocity, their future is an org are in jeopardy. Their future as a team is certainly in jeopardy right now, and someone is going to have to go. But we'll find out who that will be in the coming few weeks as we bring you all that information and the news here on RLAfterShock. Right, let's go from one disaster to a fucking hero run. A true fucking hero run. Mousesports, like I said on Twitter, no one should have any expectations for this team because they fucking, they are in, they're in the worst situation possible for a team. Like, if circumstances were different, if they had, by all expectations, I would have thought they would have been fighting for their lives in the relegation tournament because of the last second change that happened with ScrubKilla dropping out of the tournament. But no, their performance in round 8 was really good. We didn't think much of it. This performance, though, against Dignitas, holy shit. This was brilliant. This was utterly brilliant from Mousesports. It wasn't just a case of, unexpected sort of formation coming in from a team that, had a brand new third. I genuinely think that there's something there with Arju. I think there's something really, really good here with Arju on Mousesports.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting one going forward because, like you said, rightfully, if Mouse had dropped both those games in the last week, they would have wound up 7th, not going to regionals. And I think no one would have batted an eye because Scrub dropping has just meant that a sub. That's where I got my little confusion up. A sub has to be just coming in the last week at probably the most momentous time, when it's a week where you've got 2 games. Each team has to have like a week with 2 games, and it's always going to be a hardest one because otherwise you've only got 1 game during that week. And for RG to come on in, don't get me wrong, scrape by with the wins against Endpoint and Barcelona. It was the bleed-in that he needed, that's the term you use for that. Coming to this week, and he just fitted on in perfectly. And the real test and the real walkaway is the loss, yes, a loss against Dignitas, but 4-3. And they were up 3-2 in game 5. So that is crazy. Having the upper hand, yes, they blew it in the end, but again, 2-1 games against Dignitas, the lads that end up winning it all, and they were looking fierce throughout of it. Like, that Dignitas Mousesports game was a real beauty to go watch. Yeah. And I recommend people go back and seeing that. So RG, going forward, especially now with the spring series coming up, I reckon this lad's on the roster to stay, because why the fuck would Mousesports make a roster move right now, make that risk when they've suddenly had a lad that's come through in their time of struggle, in time of need, and has done the job? Why not take the spring series, see what he does during that, especially since Mouse is secured. Like, that's the least you can give to Arju as a bit of this is, your reward essentially for stepping up when needed. why not see how they do in spring series? Keep scrimming it on out, keep practicing with him. If things don't go well in the spring series, RG not staying on the team, I think is, fair enough. You can see, like, by that point, you start building up for next season. But RG, if he's not there to stay for the spring series, I look towards Mouse and go, what the fuck are you guys doing? Give the lad a chance,
At the very least, give him a trial run,
so far, Yeah. This was his trial as such, like, I guess. Like, actually, no, this wasn't even a trial. This was a need, because that's why you have a sub in your team. The real trial, starts with the spring series, which they're going to have arguably the 8 best teams in Europe. So this, again, is another trial by fire, but in a safe environment, because it's not going to affect that RLCS, and it means that if RG stays up and they make top 4, I'm going to say, in the spring series, they have no reason to get rid of him. If they end up in the bottom 4, then it will be circumstantial.
Yeah, man, like, fucking just this Mousesports side. I think I should, because like they're going to be all qualified for spring series because they're part of the top 4, aren't they? So they'll be playing there. So like I just think that at this point, just give the guy a chance. It's not like he's doing the most amazing star player role on this team. It's not like he's having that moment there, but like he's fitting very well with Cooks here in speed. I think the team formation and the synergy there, most importantly as well, it's something the Shogun mentioned on Twitter. It's actually legit. It's actually really good how the synergy of this team has worked up, because like they are having like a level of chemistry that you wouldn't expect from a team that have just formed like this, So
the big takeaway is RG stepping in the squad into the squad. It's scrub, scrub sub squad.
The squad.
It's a tongue twister, I guess, just because you got it on your head as you're talking. But him stepping into the squad just means that he allows speed to pop off something rotten and go back to that sort of like WSOE highlight sort of worthy. You are beautiful on this team. And Scrub, where he was trying to get involved in that, him and Speed just clashed. They could not work together right. Arju is quite happy to come onto the team and be a little bit, I'm just saying, like, personality wise, as your play style, be a little bit less in the highlight. He is putting in the work to allow his teammates to work. And you'll notice that, like, if I pull up, I'm just going to do it now, because one thing, Liquipedia, you're beautiful. Octane, you're even better, I'm going to argue, purely for giving us these stats that we need. I'm going to pull up, because unfortunately they haven't come through on Octane GG for the regionals, but they are.
Yes, they have.
I can't see it.
I've got it pulled up right here. Let's send you the link. Hold on.
Yeah, send me a link. I mean, it's just not linked on... Thank you. It's just not linked on the game by game then. On Liquipedia. I'll drop Lucas or someone a ping about that. I mean, they're doing great work anyway, so no reason to have a go at them. But just notice how Arju, for me anyway, is the lowest on the team, generally speaking. Like, he's normally middling between both Cooks and Speed, but that's because Cooks and Speed flip over quite often as being so pivotal for the game. So RG being that sort of middleman between the two works really well.
Yeah, and I did not expect it to be that way. I thought they would have they need a lot longer to get this team chemistry together, and it absolutely has worked so well. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to see what this team can do. I'm hyped, and I'm ready to receive. I'm looking forward to it, Bacon. So. There you go. Mousesports having a surprise run, managing to go so far as the top 4 when really they should have been fighting around the bottom 8 or so. But anyways, let's move on and talk about FC Barcelona. Now, you mentioned it in passing a little bit earlier on against Reciprocity. Obviously, with their team formation not being at the 100% sort of like confident level that we saw in the mid-season. But in this playoffs, they looked a lot better by comparison to their matches against TSM and Mousesports. Yeah, much better. Not quite 100% as you mentioned earlier, but they did manage to go so far as to also make top 4, beating out Veloce and Reciprocity in the interim. And Veloce weren't no slouches in that best of 7, by the way. They actually had a really good, a good showing. For me now, the new question about this team, obviously, is how the fuck do they get consistent with this? Because they've shown and they demonstrated that now not only are they a good set of 3 players, they're also a good team. How do we get that performance to replicate week in and week out?
For me, like, I've used it in the past, Jay, you know, as a term to get teams together, but I seriously think boot camping, where they just take 1 week and just work on team building to try and get these guys together, because it just always feels like they need to be on the same page. And when we saw them in their bad weeks, it was all because they're playing very much a solo standard playstyle. You know, we always said, oh, this team is looking like the best solo standard team there ever was. That don't mean that, you know, they're great for this. And the argument on the follow back to that is, like, during week 8, they looked like it, that solo standard team again. Going into the playoffs, this looks like the best ranked Warriors there ever was, you know? So they've got natural chemistry with each other, but that communication, I feel, is just the final thing that needs to be ticked off. And this team could be up there with Dig and Vitality. It's just that one aspect that is missing right now. And I would have actually really loved to see Mousesports versus Barca. Like, if that could have just been a 3rd, 4th place game, you know, to seal it off, to see the real caliber of these 2 teams. Of course, that wouldn't happen, but like, that would have been a series to really watch this week, because those 2 teams are, I think, really exciting to see when they're playing well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like, I just think the FC Barcelona just, again, they've shown what they can do. You know, it's
the point of, in the off season, a roster move would actually, for once, we were calling this beforehand, a roster move would be a bad idea. I'm saying it right now. This is a team that needs to work on the chemistry, work on the differences, work on that communication, most of all. And Flakes, buddy, this means you don't shit on your teammates. You actually try and propel them and help them. But that just comes down to this team being the characters that they are, and having to get past that, because this is a team that could possibly, like, realistically, with their potential, be world beaters, you know, Jay. And right now, because they're their worst enemies, they're holding themselves back and they can, yes, point fingers at each other like they've done in the past and other teams, but right now they've got to propel each other to greatness, and they're going to do it individually but together, if that makes sense. They've got to work over their individual problems, communicating and personality wise, to make the team the best it can be.
Yeah, I agree. You know, they've got a lot of time as well in the off season. They'll be competing in the spring series. I keep saying the spring open. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, best trial for them to do that.
Best opportunity. I think it's just a case of getting into those scrims, getting into those practice sessions, and trying to work on a team formation, because, like, you know, once again, it's that team formation that is the thing to get past. And the main sort of roadblock, again, as you mentioned, is the personalities in this team, and, you know, the issues that we've seen between egos and such, and, you know, stepping on each other's toes, cutting off rotations. It's not just Bluey that does that, by the way. You know, they've had several moments in this iteration of the roster where, you know, shit's gone wrong because they've cut each other up in the midfield. So FC Barcelona, again, they've shown they've got their potential. They just need to get past some really crucial issues, and then we're home sweet home. You know, we are. I've got a lot of faith in this roster still, but I just need to see that little bit of consistency come out. Else they'll be doomed to some very wishy-washy seasons, and potentially some moments where they don't make it to World Championships, and where they don't make it to you know, certain LAN events. Obviously, they won't be able to compete in the Inter World Open if that still goes ahead. You know, for FC Barcelona, yeah, there's potential, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Again, just work on that consistency and keep going in that respect. So there you go. That's FC Barcelona's season done, but their opponents in Run of Vitality in those semi-finals did go on to those grand finals to face off against Dignitas. And like I mentioned, it was an absolute banger. It was a really fucking good series. Dignitas took it at 4-2 on the series board, with no game going further than a single goal difference, Bacon. It was that close. But what gave Dignitas the edge in the end was the level of form which they found, because I have never seen anything like it, Bacon. The shit that they were doing on the pitch was godlike. utterly godlike from Dignitas. They have reached a height that I didn't think they would reach in this season at the very least. We've not seen these kind of heights hit by players in a good while in Europe. This is just... It's so out of the blue is the thing. Like, I'm just stunned by the shit that I've seen this weekend, you know?
So the big change up to this team, one, it feels like Yukio requires pressure to play really well. League play, he plays fine, but it comes down to regionals and it comes down to worlds, lands, whatever, for him to just absolutely go Super Saiyan like his hair would suggest.
Yeah.
And the opposite end is that Panda needs to go from being a three-man rotation to being a supporter. When he is setting up Astral, oh boy, he can play. And Astral is beautiful, definitely worthy of being the MVP of, you know, not only league play, but the regionals. But then again, that secret MVP, the enabler of the team, was the captain in Panda to really just every single time pick up the ball and go, where is he? Where is it? Astral. Hey boy, come here. There he is. Throw the ball to him and bang, in the back of the net it goes. That is what a captain has to be, knowing every single point on the pitch, knowing that you don't have to worry about Yukio. Yukio does Yukio things. He is going to be fucking ace on his own. You right there, Panda, need to focus on Astral, and boy, oh boy, did he feed him. Oh, Astral got fat on them goals by the end of it because, Jesus, Panda knows what to do with a team. And the only thing that is sad about this team is that Panda won't get the 3-time world champion, Jay.
Nah, man. That whole fucking situation makes it so bittersweet. I will say, by the way, when you can get Bacon going from Preacher Bacon to Here Boy Bacon in the space of about 2 minutes, then you know that you've done something really fucking right, okay? Like, straight up. Man.
Sorry, it's the drama kid coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, like, you know, Panda, even though the Octane stats will tell you that, like, he didn't have a very good, and they didn't have a very good fucking game, like, no, he had a great game. He was a supportive element for Astral. The reason why Astral scored so high on the rating, the reason why he averaged a goal per game, was because of the fact that Panda was there to support it. And again, Yukio doing Yukio things, those two popped the fuck off. They popped the cork on the fucking, you know, champagne bottle and then made it run. Like, they shaked it up so fucking hard that it just went around the world. It was amazing. I've truly never seen anything like it from this Dignitas side. And yeah, as you mentioned, you know, with Panda not getting his opportunity to go to the World Championship and get his 3-time, it makes it a bit more bittersweet, or, you know, a little bit more bitter, I think, more than anything else, to be honest, because I would have loved to see how this team stacked up against North America. You know, like, they're fucking playing like the old Dignitas we used to know, like the Dynasty Dignitas. So, like, to see this new fucking, like, you know, this new team potentially contesting against someone like a G2 Esports, for example, who have had a really good season. You know, NRG have dropped off a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but it's, you know, like, just taking a look at what they were able to do in that particular matchup, how they, like, had such a good sort of showing against Space Station, a very close matchup against NRG. Sitting there just like, I would have loved to see the likes of Dignitas take on one of those two teams. I'm just really disappointed we can't see that, because, man, it could have been so good.
We'll just have to do it theoretically, Jay. That's it. We just have to dream up and think of how it'd be.
We might be doing that, by the way, Bacon. I don't know if you're aware. I need to actually discuss with you that with you after this show is done. So be sure to keep your eyes on the prize and keep your eyes on all the regular social medias at Twitter, RLAfterShock, and on Discord as well. Standard twitch.tv/RLAfterShock and shit. As well as the announcement coming for SSP2, which by the time this podcast goes out, it may or may not have already been announced, Bacon. I'm still undecided about that. I might wait till this podcast gets published first. So
I thought we were waiting on a very specific date towards the back end of this week.
That was also the other idea as well, but I just want to get it off the fucking ground because everything's finished. Everything is finished. SSP2 is 100% done.
Me now for this one thing left.
No, not even you, mate. Like, I just want to get it off the ground. You can do your little bit after the fact, okay? Like, that's all it is. That's all it is for SSP2,
man. I'm excited.
But yes, we've got some very interesting stuff coming up as well. Again, SSP2, potentially some guest appearances. You know, just we didn't get to do our World Championship prediction show, so I'm going to try to find another way to work some certain special guests into the show. But we'll have a chat with those guys about it, see how we can work things. And again, we'll come and bring you that information and all the rest of the content we have planned for you very, very soon. I'm really excited for what the off season is going to hold, because we are going to be busy little boys, Bacon, not just from a casting perspective. But let's just say the Rocket League journalism is going to take a bit of a weird turn.
I mean, generally the idea, and we're fine with experimenting, Jay. But I mean, this is going beyond. Yeah.
This is going well beyond anything you've ever seen before. So make sure you keep it locked again on Twitter at RLAfterShock. And on Discord and Twitch. So with that, we're going to end off the show. All the regular plugs as well to come through. You can follow the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and most other audio distribution platforms as well. You can go to anchor.fm/RLAfterShock to find your favourite platform or request your favourite way to listen. I believe that is everything there so far, Bacon. I mean, unless there's something I've missed.
No. That is it. I think, relatively speaking, at the top end, of course, we're seeing a lot of...
No. I missed one very crucial thing. I fucked it up. Hold on.
Oh, yes. I know.
The pick and predictions. I did say I'd do it at the end of this segment, so yep. I'll redo all the plugs later, but I have to, of course, reveal the pick and prediction game because it came to a conclusion. We have our undisputed pick and pro. From the rival series standings, from bottom to top, I'm going to go ahead and read out the standings for those ones. So, RL Stats got 14 points at the end of the final week. KP got 30 points at the multiple position. Chewie's next up at 40 points. Yen's at 46. Trucks at 47. Juicy at 55. Dexter got 63. I got 72. You got 74. John, aka Always, got 79. But the top end of the table for the RLRS pick and prediction was Frostbite at 82 points total. So he gets the rival series championship. I don't have the totals for the RLCS pick and game, unfortunately, but I can reveal from bottom to top what the standings were. J-Man pulling in the rear. RL Stats penultimate in the last place position. Then it's Ty's Vogels, Jens, Juicy, Trox, John, myself, yourself, Dexter, Chewy, KP, and finally the champion, the undisputed pick and pro, is none other than Frostbite himself. 103 total points I'm told he got. That is fucking baller beyond anything else here, Bacon.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the meta, Jay, is...
It's just finding Counter-Strike fans to transition to Rocket. I mean, hey, that's how I got here, you know?
We're onto something.
We can engineer the ultimate pick'em champion, boys. But again, congratulations to Frostbite, and thank you to everyone who's been in the Discord taking part in this show, taking part in the prediction game, and especially big thank you to Dexter as well, who's been running the whole fucking thing. I believe he's going to start picking up the pace and potentially running some community nights as well. So you definitely want to keep your eyes out on that shit, because there is a lot of fun stuff that will be coming our way very, very soon indeed. But yeah, no, there you go. That's our season done. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for the promotion playoffs and the championship series regards here, Bacon. So yeah, at this point, I guess just, see you next week, I guess. Again, we're going to try to see if we can do some coverage of the Rising Stars stuff and all the other bubble scene tournaments we've got going on, so we can kind of fat out the content and hopefully get some of those guest appearances coming up very, very soon indeed. So plenty of shit going on in the Rocket League scene, Bacon. Even though the season's over, we've got a lot to look forward to.
Oh, yeah, we have got tons to look forward to. Of course, like, for me, the massive one there would be the spring seasonal with spring series, sorry. They could have gone with so many different better names. But yes, where that's finally going to be South America and Oceania on the main fucking channel, Jay. It's
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
Praise Him.
And
Jesus. Of course, yeah, I mean, for us in Europe, it's going to be a little bit of a wait. I mean, 9th and 10th of May, because they're doing one weekend after the other. C'est la vie, we'll allow it if it means that South America and Oceania can actually finally get the recognition that they deserve. But yeah, in the meantime, make sure to go tune on in to your Rocket Baguettes. I mean, each and every Wednesday, there's the nice Cactus weeklies, 210 euros up for grabs. Belong have just started something up for UK residents, and that's tonight as of recording, Tuesdays. Me and Jay might be involved towards the back end of these, but for the initial bit, they're just testing the waters. So, of course, go support them in that. Am I missing any other weeklies going on?
TCS Challenger Cups are coming up soon, so there's also that for Switzerland.
If you're Swiss, of course.
We've also got, I think, Teleligen as well. I think is doing their things as well. I think they're doing their Division 2 qualifiers soon. If I recall correctly, I don't know actually because I haven't got the official standings here. I don't have. It's not listed on Wikipedia who have their Division 2 positions. So we only have the Division 1 stuff there.
Basically, after all the shit we gave Bubble Team players earlier, support the shit out of your weeklies. They need it.
Like I said, they need it. They don't deserve it, though. So I think if they need it, they should probably get it. But fuck them anyway. So there you go. That is my thoughts on the bubble scene. And we're going to end off on this episode of RLAfterShock. Episode 69, the fun little numbers. Everything like that. I've been Eternal J. This has been Digital Bacon for this week. Any final words from you, my friend, before we head out?
None other than I'm loving to see during this time, of course, where everyone's a little bit locked in, streamers dabbling into Rocket Leagues is a little bit more casual. My favorite one at the moment is actually F1 driver Lando Norris, where he's like not got real world racing. He's fucking funny to see on Rocket League, and that it's bolstering up viewership in Rocket League, of course. I'm just a little bit worried that when we do get back to racing in F1, he's gonna go for them demos.
Oh god, the penalties will be ridiculous, but that's a topic for another day and probably another podcast. We're gonna get out of here and see you next week for even more of the Aftershock.